3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin.
And welcome back to Chasin the Racin podcast, brought to you by OMG Racing, Lucky Day Competitions, and JCT Truck and Trailer Rental. I'm joined by the beautiful...
What do you mean you're joined by? Are we not on an equal footing?
Yes, but I was just trying to be polite. I don't really know how you say
You are sat in the master's chair, so that is
I'm not
right
in the
thing
master's
to do.
chair, don't say that.
But today we're going to do a BSB roundup, aren't we?
Stretch up so I'm not in Sunday mode.
Well, I've never been in here with so few people.
It's nice, actually, isn't it?
It's quite spacious when it's empty.
Very nice.
So,
Yeah,
BSB roundup.
Yeah, I'm quite excited for this one. We, to be fair, we've probably done this ourselves over WhatsApp about 3,000 times since the last round, so it'll be nice to do it for real. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, actually. There's a lot to go through. It's been a cracking season, again, of which you've been a part of, so I suppose it'd be good to get your perspective on some of it as well.
I mean, before the season even started, it kicked off in the most spectacular way. Even before the season got going, I was going to say arguably the biggest team, but it is the biggest team in terms of riders. It was going to be a 3-rider team.
Yeah, the champions, the championship winning team.
The championship winning team with 3 riders, with also a returning champion.
And actually, the dynamic was even more complicated than that, wasn't it? Because you've got the current champion, the returning champion, and arguably one of the best young talents coming through who could have really been in the mix as well, or certainly on his day. Yeah.
So obviously we're speaking about OMG Racing. We've mentioned it plenty. You know, we did the Alan Gardner pod, and we've been through it plenty. But yeah, it was a massive thing to start the year, and it was probably the most crazy thing was how near to the start of the year it was. It wasn't. The riders didn't have a load of time to find new stables, and obviously Talbot didn't. Yeah. He ended up going to Supersport in the end, and actually did very, very well, and did get a ride in Superbike at one point.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think, look, unfortunate that he couldn't stay in Superbike, but I would be honest, in a way, I feel like he's had a fantastic season, and it might even just put him in better stead going forward. So it hasn't harmed him, I don't think, but it was obviously a difficult situation.
Yeah, I do think you're right about Joe. I think, having said that, being in a team with a reigning champion and a defending and a former champion, actually, it probably would have been one of the best scenarios, because I've been in that sort of scenario where I've come into a 3-rider team. I've been not expected to perform, but given a very good platform in which to perform. So actually, I think for Joe, it probably would have been really good, having said what we just said, because the limelight would have been off him, but he would have had all the best things available to him. But anyway, didn't happen.
Yeah.
The team essentially carried on, but didn't carry on because it was a different team, should we say, but with almost all the same personnel, different sponsor, different owners.
Initially, it did carry on with...
yeah, that's true.
It did initially.
Before Alan passed the reins over completely.
He sort of sold the team later down the line, but very much the same look and feel, and retained the same sort of like ethos, hasn't it? So.
And kept Kyle, which obviously was probably quite a difficult sort of decision, but I would say it's the right one, because you're reigning champion that's literally just done what they've done.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult, and there was obviously an option for Brad in a way. It brought another team back into the championship, you diluted the riders, but I don't want to say the teams are more important than the riders, because I don't think they are, but they're very much as important. So the show doesn't happen without the riders, but the more teams there are, the more opportunities it presents for riders going forward. So I think ultimately it was a really sad thing, but it did bring Raceways back into the series, who is going to go on to field another rider in another class, which we'll talk about later on. But in a way, if there was that option to put Brad there, then it kind of makes sense to keep Kyle, and obviously Joe's kind of collateral damage to that, wasn't he? So
yeah. So then it's probably one of the first years for a long time where we haven't had, coming into the year, a big hitter coming into the series. There was quite a lot of status quo in terms of...
Other than Brad, really.
Yeah, other than Brad.
But he was a big hitter.
No, but I mean, like, we didn't get like a...
Like a Reading coming back from World Superbike or a Foray.
Yeah, well, we did in the end, but yes.
Yes, but we didn't. Yes, I know what you mean. Normally, in the past, it's been the Hopkins coming back from GP, or when Shaky actually originally came straight back from World Superbike, didn't he? Into he didn't come from Grand Prix, did he? Did World Superbikes for a bit and then came back to BSB. But yeah, I know what you mean. No, you're right. We didn't have that, even though it transpired that we did in the end.
Yeah.
Which again was really good for the championship, wasn't it? But it was the start of the season. Very much felt like, you say, status quo. Even though Brad was a big name coming back from World Championship,
it almost felt like he hadn't been away. Is what I mean.
Yes, sort of
we got no one new, is what I meant.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, here's,
and he wasn't
Iannone or somebody.
And whilst he'd been doing a good job in World Superbike, he wasn't winning races.
Yes.
So it wasn't like, well, we've had that in the past, But I guess he sort of proved us all wrong a little bit. Really.
Did he? So, yeah, like, straight up, Brad came back, was crazy strong. Round one, I always find in racing, in BSB, the first round and the last round throw up so many anomalies. I think everyone knows at round one, not to go and prove a point, but almost like they're on any... Nobody has any, like, this is my place, so I'll settle, shall we say? Whereas I think as the season goes on, people not accept their position, but there's very much almost a pecking order happens. But at round one, you get all sorts go on. The same as you get in the last round. I think people want to... They just
prove
go
themselves.
out, all guns blazing. They've got 6 months off to think about what they've just done, so they're just full gas.
I think that the mentality in the early part of the season is you can't win the championship then, but you can certainly lose it.
Mm-hmm.
So the smart guys and the guys who've got form, or who you expect very much to have form, are maybe just building and aren't taking risks. But then there's some people who are maybe new to the series or got something to prove that are willing to take a risk because they want to start on the front foot and you want to get going. So yeah, it absolutely always... it's a bit like going to Thruxton. There's always like a weird result at Thruxton.
Yes.
I think
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that first round, and it's not saying that they were only going faster that round, but certainly I think Leon was incredible on the Motorapido Ducati. I think the third race, whatever, the lap times he was putting in was insane. He ended up winning that one, I think. But he was quick all weekend on it. And Storm was actually super competitive because he hadn't really shown all that much in testing.
No.
And then... don't know if he scored a podium that weekend, but he was certainly fourth or something. I know I'd been down the road and I was watching him battle with Carl. I think he actually might have got the better of Carl in the one I was watching.
He had a fourth and a fifth or something like that, didn't he? Something around there, yeah, for sure.
And obviously, that round, we did only get the 2 races in BSB. Because obviously, very sadly, we lost Owen and Shane in that accident at Supersport, in the Supersport race. So it was kind of a strange first round, and I don't know. It was everyone left there with an odd feeling.
It was a really look. There's no other way to describe it. Obviously, losing anyone in any sport is difficult, and I just think the circumstances of that and it being at the first round almost amplified it a little bit. And it was a weird sort of driving home from that one, and kind of not really knowing how the season was going to move on from that. So incredibly sad.
So moving on then, I guess then for us within the championship racing, it got a little bit embarrassing if I'm honest with you, because Brad just set off and was doing things that were just insane, and I think we were all trying to play catch up, which is odd because he should have been trying to catch up to us because he was on the back foot essentially starting, but he went on a run of, was it 8 in the end? He went
he beat Shakey's on match Shakey's record, didn't he? All the way up until Cadwell Park, really. I know he crashed at Brands, didn't he?
Yes.
So the first foot wrong I remember him doing this
Took
year.
The front out the back at Brands.
At Hawthorne, Westfield.
Yeah.
Which easy done. And you could sort of go, he's pushing. But by which point we had someone else in the championship who was maybe showing him a bit of pressure in Scott. And I think you summed that, actually, on Brad's performance, I think you summed that up really well. Playing catch-up is exactly like what had happened. And actually, I think what we're referring to earlier on is he kind of come in at a level and was able to just go bang, and that was his level, and everybody else was playing catch up, and it just takes people a bit of time to find their feet, which makes what Kyle's performance even more impressive. So I think he the presence of mind and the strength of his character that he must have had in the early point of the season to just keep digging in and pushing to build a gap to Brad.
I mean, the weird thing with Kyle is actually, because I was messaging him probably about a third of the way left in the series, and it was when he'd started to now really show his form.
Yeah.
And I kind of said, oh, you've finally shown up again, just like you did last year. Because Kyle's performance in his championship winning year last year was no different. If anything, actually, he left Knock Hill, which last year would have been round 3 or 4, maybe, in 6th or 7th in the championship.
Yeah.
And then won, I don't know, 7 out of the last 12 races or something ridiculous. Just went on this amazing spree.
Yeah.
But also, Kyle's, I don't think he DNF'd or no-scored a race this year.
No.
Not that I can remember.
I can't think of one either.
In fact, I don't even remember the last time he's crashed a bike, apart from crashing the BMW and crashing a classic 250 out in Spa. I don't remember him falling off that race bike of his. I've seen his scuffed leather, so he must have been down somewhere, but I don't remember him being off. And his consistency has been pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Because even after Brad had amassed all those wins at the start of the year, which was, I think Kyle had maybe 1 to Brad's 10, something like, the stats were something along those lines. Brad hadn't actually amassed a massive points gap. And then the other thing we've got to remember is at that point, because we have this showdown system that isn't a showdown, it was only 18 for a win.
Yes.
So even if Kyle was finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, actually the points difference was maybe, let's say, 6 at most, or 8 at most, whereas the last few rounds, it's 5 between 1st and 2nd. In the last round, it's 10 or 8 or something between 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, and the confidence of Kyle, though, to not be stressed about that. And I can't remember which round it was at, but he did an interview and he said, I'm 27 points better off in the championship than I was at this point last year. Mm-hmm. And you're like, yeah, that's a different spin. And you sort of think, but there was no Brad Ray last year there was nobody doing what Brad's done last year. But actually, that's still irrelevant, isn't it? Yeah. And really, I guess the next big change in the series was Glenn Irwin having a crash at Snetterton, putting him out, and ultimately that leaving the door open for Scott Redding to come in and ride the bike at Knockhill.
So there's a lot to unpick here with the Glenn Scott PBM story. I think there's a lot going on. Obviously, within the PBM team, a lot's happened with the passing of Paul. It's incredible. We've still got PBM in the paddock. Hager came on who've been long-term in the paddock and sort of stepped up a little bit, but I'm sure there was financially some struggles going on because it's a lot of money to run a team and it's very difficult and all those things. And fair play to Jordan and Frank for one, having the will and the want to carry on, because if they didn't want to, then it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the Glenn thing, when he crashed at Snet, which was in a free practice or a morning warm-up or something, it was a non-session sort of thing. It wasn't a qualifying or anything like that.
Was that FP3 or whatever?
Yeah, maybe something like that. So he had a high side out the end of the back straight, just the right-hander, and put himself out. Fairly strong injury. And yeah, he was doing very well at the time. Round 1, he'd been incredibly strong. Round 2, he'd been all right. And so we're on at round 3, which is Snet. And there was rumblings in the background with Scott having some, I don't know, not squabbles, but
some difficulties
within the World Superbike team. And actually, his season in World started off mint at Phillip Island. He was super strong.
Yeah, he was,
And then it kind of started to tail off a little bit. So I think there's probably some frustrations going on. There was talk of them struggling financially and are they going to continue the year after, and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, there's a lot to unpick with the PBM situation, because clearly Scott was looking at options. PBM are now without a rider for a period of time they're not sure on, should we say.
Yeah, it was very open-ended at that stage, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then they end up with the scenario that, right, Scott's going to ride it in the interim. and potentially Scott's not going to finish the year in World Superbike. PBM now potentially have 2 top riders that will kind of need paying, really.
Yeah.
Because they'll command it, I mean.
Yeah.
Not that they'll expect it, but not get it. I mean,
they're
expect
not
a wage.
demanding it, but they're at a level where it's required.
It's required. So you've got 2 riders that need a wage, but now you also need to build another bike
and then staff it.
So yeah, the team will have another bike, but it'll be in spares, and also they need that spare bike because if Glenn, the main rider, crashes it, then otherwise you can't end up with. You can't just have the 2 bikes sitting in a garage, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%.
And that is not a small thing to want to undertake, as in building another bike. And the other thing to point out on that is everybody knew the Ducati from this year would be obsolete the following year. So to build a brand new bike in May, June, or whatever it is, that's then going to get sold for not pennies, but like
a tenth.
They can't roll it onto the following season, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
doesn't make much sense. So then Glenn goes, right, I'm ready to come back. Now we've got a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a difficult one. I feel sorry for nearly everyone involved in the situation, to be fair. I do feel for Glenn. He wouldn't be my number 1 favourite rider in the paddock in the slightest, but his predicament and what he found himself in, I do think it was difficult. And I think what he tried to do was make sure he came back as quick as he could, which he would, because that's what riders do.
Yeah. But then there was added sort of pressure to do that.
Yes, and exactly. And I think that he maybe even came back sooner than he was potentially ready to try and prevent what was going to happen from happening.
Yeah.
Which happened anyway.
Yeah.
Then we'll go on to what happened anyway, but his moving to another team. But then he kind of was forced into having to come back and wasn't ready, I don't think, physically.
Yeah, I mean...
So everything went the wrong way for him.
Yes, 100%. And I think, look, when we don't know the ins and outs of the financial implications and so on and so forth, but there was certainly more. There was more to it than just that they wanted Scott to ride the bike sort of thing, I would say. And I was actually shocked to see Glenn come back to ride with OMG, because I just thought it's such a big change. And there had been rumours about nitrous competition change in manufacturers for next year, which we know now is happening.
Yeah.
So the story kind of all makes a lot of sense if he's going to take a punt to move. At the time, I remember thinking, how's that going to go? And it's a big ask for Glenn to have to come back from an injury, learn a new bike. I think he took some of his crew, but ultimately would have a new crew and a new environment and a new everything. It's like, I don't think you can underestimate that. It's a really big thing. And I remember actually we used their hospitality we were supported by Alan and OMG Racing to eat in their hospitality this year. And I went in there for dinner one day and I was sat down chatting to him, and he says, I've asked my doctor today, can I hit the floor sort of thing? And he was like, yes, that it's safe enough to now. But that was not at Thruxton. And that was not at Cadwell. That was
later on.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I think that he, like I said, he tried to stop what was going to happen from happening.
Yeah.
Which didn't work. And then, because he'd said, yes, I'm ready, there was then no excuse not to come back, shall we say.
Yeah.
And this bit, I don't know if it can stay in or not, right? But I was a little bit... The situation, from what I can see from the outside, because I am on the outside, I don't know really anyone within PBM anymore to talk to constantly. I speak to Jordan and Frank, obviously I still speak to the mechanics, but I never asked anything specific, shall we say. So I don't know any information that people wouldn't know. But from what I can see is, it's like I said, it's very difficult to run a race team. It's a lot of money. There was no way in the middle of the year they could afford to, or it would be make any business sense, like I said, to build a second bike, because it makes no sense to do it.
Yeah.
So they're left with 2 riders, because at this point now Scott's gone, right, yes, I'm going to stay in BSB. The way that PBM played it, their official line was sort of, they were thinking of Glenn's well-being. which is why they were going to continue with Scott for the next bit of time.
Yeah.
Which is probably believable if they were then planning on letting him ride later in the year. But as I said, there's no second bike, so that's impossible. Which is a bit of a shame, I think, because therein lies, if they'd been a little bit more...
If they'd been a bit more upfront about the situation.
And from what I can see from the outside, the situation is this. Scott is a big name, a big hitter. When he came back, actually, he didn't do that great, but he did by the second round he came.
Yeah.
He brings a lot of attention to the team. Teams need sponsors. PBM basically went, listen, we know we've got a contract with Glenn. However, unfortunately, this is the situation we find ourselves in. We're struggling to continue to run, which may or may not be the case, by the way, but this is my thought process. And if we continue with Scott, we will be here for this year and the future. Whereas if we continue with Glenn, we're not sure if that's the case because we're not getting the same support.
Yeah.
Then I think it's a bit more like
it's it's always difficult it's difficult to know, isn't it? But I totally understand what you're saying. It's not as I'm sure the only reason wasn't Glenn's well-being.
Yeah. But Scott came back at Knockhill. I mean, what a place to...
I know, what a place. So let Mazzano the week before.
And then Knockhill, and it wasn't even it was a typical Scottish...
It rained.
It rained.
A lot.
I don't even think he made Q2 on the Friday. I think he had to go through... Sorry, Q... Yeah, I get confused which numbers it is, but I think he didn't make the top 12.
In the first day. And then so you had to go through the Q1 session.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right, actually. But he did he have a fifth? I've got a fifth in
well, Grace has done some very nice notes, so thank you very much, Grace.
We are reading.
He actually did fourth in the dry in race 1, which was good, very good, but then struggled a lot in the rain, which actually he struggled a lot in the rain the rest of the year, with exception, I think, of the last round at Brands, where he really found his feet, because I was watching that on live time.
Yeah, because at Assen it was mixed. He sort of did well.
Actually, he was good in one of them, and then not in the other one.
Maybe it's a wrong tyre choice or something.
And at one of the Alton ones, he was riding round, and I think he said it himself in one of the old Alton ones, that he was riding round scared. I'm sure he didn't mean scared as scared, but like
but did he maybe go on an inter or something when it was half wet, half dry or something? Right. But yeah, I think...
But he didn't come back, shall we say, and set the world alight.
No, he didn't, but I think showed his class early doors. I mean, like...
Well, then he won at Brands.
Yes. So he goes to Knockhill, he has, like, what we would consider to be very strong results.
Yes.
But he didn't come back and clear off at the front. But all things considered...
Which is what we'd just seen Brad do.
Yes.
Which is maybe why that expectation was there.
Yeah. But you wouldn't have got that performance from many riders.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns up at the next round at Brands Hatch, bit more of on the Grand Prix circuit, in good conditions, and by race 3 he was there.
Yeah.
And actually the first person all year that's really had at this stage in the season really pushed Brad. Now whether that push good point. Did that push Brad into a mistake and him going down? Well, it's certainly a factor. I'm sure he was trying hard because he needed to. I mean, he'll always have been trying hard, but just pushing that little extra bit, he probably he had a small crash. A fast crash, but
it wasn't.
He was all right. Yeah,
a bit of a front ender.
So that was a big sort of turning point in the championship. But before we go any further down the championship, another rider that I wanted to touch on is Tommy Bridewell.
Yeah, well, I was going to say there's two. So up until this point, there's two people we hadn't talked about, and one actually, we probably wouldn't have mentioned him that much anyway. Skinner was third in the championship until that point. Had a very strong but quiet start to the year.
Yes.
He was like amassing points without being... I mean, he won at Knockhill. So yes, that's a big standout. But the rest of them, he was like always there. So he was strong. But yeah, Tommy Bridewell, the runner-up from the year before. And Tommy in 2024 was... do you know what? It's really hard talking about people in your own class because, like, I don't want to critique people that I'm racing against because I've got an absolute comparison. But yeah, 2024, I think Tommy Bridewell was the best version of Tommy Bridewell that I've ever seen.
Yes, I agree.
And he didn't win the championship, but I think that he was better in 24.
That he was the year that he won the championship.
Yes.
But yeah, that doesn't mean that Kyle wasn't stronger as well.
Yes.
Yes. And I agree with that. And actually the impressive thing about 2024 Tommy was he could turn it on and off.
Yeah.
So like he was obviously always working on the bike, and he vocally had said if he wasn't happy with a few things, but then could turn it on when he needed to.
Yeah.
Which was really impressive.
Yeah.
And yeah, put himself in a position for what will probably go down in history as one of the best BSB finales ever.
Yeah, and there's been a few good ones.
There's been some very good ones. And yeah, so, but this year, I don't know the ins and outs, but he, for whatever reason, isn't happy with the bike. There's new changes to the bike, new tyres, different tyre for you guys, wasn't there? A different compound this year? Yeah,
there was different compound. I mean, it's a difficult one with the tyre situations. Obviously, we're on a one make and one option, which I don't know if that makes it an option, but anyway, there's one compound.
In the past, you used to have a 0, an X, and a 1.
It's kind of been 2 for quite a
while.
long time. But then certain rounds they put in a harder one. But it's almost always only 2 options because they get rid of the super soft, shall we say,
for the extra one, for a special tyre,
But yeah, the funny thing is with Pirelli and what we get is, I do think that this year they did say, by the way, this is a different tyre, but often they can change things without us really knowing, because as much as the 0 is called the 0,
it could be a different type of 0 and you not know. Yes, exactly. Of course.
They might have a different process or a slightly different ingredient. If you make a sponge cake and then you find a slightly different way of making a sponge cake that's better, you still call it a sponge cake.
Yeah. That could be the episode name.
What? Sponge cake.
What flavour sponge cake this year?
But yeah, so, and tyres is always a big, massive talking point. I think there's certain riders that are more susceptible, like Brooks would be one that is very vocal on, or very good at feeling, shall we say.
Yes.
Maybe not vocal, but very good at feeling. So that's why he's vocal. But I wouldn't be the best at feeling very slight changes in tyre.
Yeah.
Compound or make or process, but people like Josh is, and it seemed like not just Tommy struggled, because weirdly there was a strong switch after I think Tommy and Honda having a strong 24. There was a massive change of your sort of non-official supported teams, not as many official supported teams, but of your teams that have a choice which manufacturer they're going to run with, switch to Honda.
Yeah.
So we saw Hawk doing it, Dow, CDH did it. So there's 3 teams. It's 6 extra guys that have decided, right, we're going to go for Honda because that's the best
package that we can get.
Package.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe the tyre affected the Hondas more, which I think was a lot of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I think what creeps in maybe more in Tommy's situation is when you've had such a stellar season the year before, you come in with high expectations, and then if you actually don't progress forwards, or what seemed like happened was go back a little bit, frustration has come even more, and then
and I think look, Tommy Bridle's at a level in his career where he is looking to refine things.
Mm-hmm.
He's not looking to reinvent the wheel as such.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, you could see it from the pit lane that, this year change of crew at multiple times during the season and things like that. So there's clearly been some sort of fraught energy there, and the difficult situation, unhappy with bike setup, whatever it was. And I mean, he did still have some good rounds, but at this point in the season, he had not shown the sort of potential that we expected from him and from that package. So yeah, that was an interesting one. And you touched on Rory before. I think a bit of a quiet assassin at this point, wasn't he? He was just going about his business and doing stuff. Another big shift for that team to move to Ducatis.
I mean that, for Taz Racing, Cheshire Mouldings Ducati as it was named this year, to have switched a little bit like we spoke about before with PBM, it was a strange year for Taz to decide
to take on Ducatis.
Because again, everyone knew when the new Ducati was coming out, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like a secret. They knew that the bike that they were about to build
Was good for 1 year.
Was only good for 1 year, and then
Yeah.
they're going to have to completely change everything because maybe the front wheel fits, but certainly the rear one doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean there's not a market for them bikes for other teams in the paddock. But I know what you're saying. So like another top team isn't going to necessarily want to take the bike when there's a new one coming out.
But it's not just that. It's often when you're a team and you go, right, we're going to switch and we're going to run with a bike. Not only in year one are you investing in the bike, but throughout that year you're gaining knowledge.
Yes.
So in year two you're rolling it through,
Which is gone.
Which is gone. So that's why I mean it was a strange year to switch. But clearly
Yes.
they had their own reasons not to just go, do you know what, we're going to switch in 26. We'll roll the BMW out for 1 more year. They obviously decided, right, this is the way we're going to have to go.
Do you think sponsors play a lot of sway in the decisions of manufacturers now, especially in a series like BSB where there's outside of your factory Honda and Kawasaki teams, like you can do what you want?
Well, yes, is the simple answer. I don't know on that level, because that's a massive level, to make a manufacturer switch. But yeah, I do think that they probably had a strong input on.
Like, we want you to run this manufacturer because we
prefer you.
Yeah, yeah, fair, but that's good. Like, fair enough. Like,
but you know what? I found that when I different brands obviously appeal to different
people
sponsors. It's the by association.
Yeah.
So brands, especially if you're a premium brand or that sort of thing, you want to be associated with a premium brand. Now, not like disregarding the other manufacturers as not being premium, but certainly the Ducati name is synonymous with being the premium of the manufacturers on the grid.
I think if you're a bike, like a social bike enthusiast, and you know a bit about bikes, you know what a Ducati is.
Yeah.
It would be the first, maybe other than some of the British brands, but like you would know what a Ducati is in the same way that most people know what a Ferrari is and what it stands for.
Exactly.
So like, 100%. It is. I found it interesting that that's starting to have an
effect.
Yeah, but in a big way and in a positive way, and that is a good thing. That's like ultimately all of the racing that happens is a marketing exercise for manufacturers.
So it obviously works.
So it works.
I mean, I had it firsthand. I when I used to live down with mum and dad, the local business person down there, every year I would ask, any chance. It was a bit more in depth than that, but yeah, any chance. And literally, I rode a Ducati, any chance, yep. Whereas every other year it was like, no. So yeah, that was just by association. I was literally the same rider. My results hadn't been really any different the year before. So yeah. But yeah, Rory going to that one. And actually, they didn't have a very easy off-season. So they really struggled. I think they had some bike issues. So most of the pre-season testing, he kind of didn't really test.
Right.
I think the bike wasn't running right and they couldn't get it to... He was still turning laps, but it wasn't actually even giving him full power from what I can remember.
Right.
He was on basically a super sport bike. Is how much power it was giving him.
Right.
So he probably flew under the radar a little bit anyway in pre-season testing. Not that he wanted to. But we never even seen him on the timesheets because he was so far down.
He wasn't there, yeah, fair.
So yeah, he was an interesting one. Had that win at Knockhill, which is obviously his home turf, but that was an incredible race for him. And actually at Knockhill we got Fraser Rogers got on the podium, which was really nice to see, not just for him but also for the tag racing team. Which actually it's easy to forget how much success they've had because they finished second in the championship with Brooksy. I mean, that was 8 or so years ago now, but it's not a team that's not been with success, but it's probably had a little bit of a dry spell. Yeah, I mean, it is recently.
It's
also on Hondas.
Yeah, we'd say they're a privateer team, which they
completely, yeah.
But actually, I was thinking about them the other day and how long they've been around. So Sean Winfield's not riding anymore, and there was a really nice thing at Brands for him retiring from Superstock.
Yeah.
And but he's done Superbike and all the other classes. Actually, that team has been around in one format or another for a long... I'm trying to think... longer than...
I rode for Tag Triumph as it was back in the day in...
13.
Was it 12 and 13? I did 2 years there. And actually, that was the team I was referring to when I was speaking about Joe Talbot, that they gave me a perfect platform because they had at the time Paul Young and Billy McConnell, who were their big hitters. I came in as a nobody and gave me a really good platform. But yeah, that team has been around for a long time and know what they're doing.
But even before that, they were running Kawasaki's, and they're involved in Superbike for a long time. Yeah, and there's not many teams still kicking about like that. Hawk are one of them as well. But yeah, no, it's really nice to see them, and I think they've got a fantastic setup, and it's nice to see that they've stuck with Fraser a bit as well, and to get a podium, they're getting a bit of return on their investment, I guess, with Fraser.
And Fraser is one that's confirmed already for next year.
I've seen that.
There's not been loads of confirmations, but he's there's been a few actually, but he's
one that's on there.
One of the first ones. Just about Hawk then, so you spoke about Hawk. They signed McPhee, which was probably one of the things I was most... Because I'm a fan of racing as well.
Yes.
I was excited about having McPhee in the paddock. But I don't think he got the full opportunity to show his full talent this year.
Really hard to quantify that, isn't it? And I think that I personally think he's done a cracking job. And there's some times where he pulled lap times out to get into Q2, out of nowhere, and you think, fair play. And clearly shown his class, but for whatever reason, bike team opportunity, it hasn't gone to plan for him. And I'd have loved to have seen have some better results than he has done. A few crashes and stuff like that as well, which I think, that's just typically when you see that happening, people are trying, right? Something's just not quite working. So yeah, I guess on the topic of other Moto3 riders, someone who had a really we're talking about round 5 at the minute, Brands Hatch, sort of midpoint of the season. Danny Kent at this point hadn't really done a lot, and for me was the disappointment of the grid. Did he win it the last round before in 24? I think he did. He
won the very last race of 24. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, funny enough, in similar conditions to
what he did this year.
Yeah.
So to win and then go into the winter, and I knew that team had invested in a lot of additional infrastructure and things to support the toll testing program, and for whatever reason struggled. And I think it was actually a change in personnel, wasn't it? That was the switch from what I know. So a bit of a personnel change or made a change within the team somewhere, and he turns up and he won a race at Brands, didn't he?
Don't think did he win one at Brands? He was definitely up there.
Yeah.
But the Danny Kent was the Martrain McCams team was almost lost at the start of the year.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. That's
And then all of a sudden, Brandsy was strong, and then Thruxton, he won 2 out of the 3 or something, or did he win 3 out of the 3? Then he did the double on the Sunday. I can remember that.
Yes, he did.
He didn't win the first one. He just decided to pump me off track. But thanks, Danny. Not that mind, it's fine. But they really just took so long, and I did ask him about it actually at Thruxton, because I was happy. I do like Danny. I like Danny a lot. I was teammates with him for a year, and he's just a real nice, level guy. And basically it was this shows how close and how we're searching for such small things. It was just a little electronics thing, was what he said. It might not have been little, by the way, but it was a change in the electronic strategy that gave him the feeling that he wanted. He could, I guess, feel the connection between throttle to engine to rear wheel, which is what a rider's looking for. And all of a sudden, he got that sensation and then was doing what everyone expected Danny Kent and that bike to do. Because as the other thing that probably made it look worse is because up until that point, Kyle, I think, had only won 1 race, but Silly won a race. Brad had won 8 or 9 by that point, maybe more.
Yeah.
And so actually it exaggerated Danny's plight or predicament, because when you've got 2 other yams at the front, and he wasn't far back, but he wasn't.
But it's difficult,
at the front.
Yeah, when your bike on a similar setup is winning races and you're struggling and you're not feeling it. And I mean,
and you know what the other difficult thing is with electronics is because it's so easy to say, well, you're on the same bike.
Because, but you're really not, are you?
Because fundamentally, okay, the suspension and Kyle uses Batubo and Brad uses Öhlins, and I guess they're on Öhlins. Are they McCams, Martrain?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So yeah, So there's slight changes, don't get me wrong, but yeah, essentially if you're the boss or the whatever it is, you can go, you're on the same bike.
What's going on?
But with electronics, it's an infinite thing.
I think on that side, so a little bit of insight that I did get from some of the guys that I know in the team was just around I think the direction they went in is away from what like other superbike riders typically have electronic wise.
Okay.
Because so for like the listeners, let's say, you know, if you go down the road on your road bike and you open the throttle 5%, you get the equivalent 5% of on the throttle body and equivalent power. Most of the superbikes are not like that because they've got no traction control. So the electronic compromise is pretty much most of the time that, isn't it? You're not on one-to-one throttle.
No. Yeah, I call it, because it's easy for me to understand, but request response. So what I request and what the response is.
Not what you're given.
It's not the same.
And I think that's quite common across that grid because of the nature of the bikes and the power and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I think maybe my understanding is that they went back in a direction that was a lot closer to one-to-one, or if maybe not even slightly the other way, which is different to what I guess a lot of people would have. But maybe Danny's Moto3 experience, or because he's very smooth, isn't he? And maybe that's just something that he preferred or whatever. But it clearly, again, just shows you that if you've got something that you're comfortable with, there's almost like sometimes not a right or wrong answer with stuff like that, is that it's what you want and what you feel.
Yeah, riders have their own sensation. And again, just for the listeners, just to understand it. So, like Josh said, we've got no traction control and we've got no electronic aids, we've got no anti-wheelie. So power has to get taken out of it. The difficulty is if you take too much power out, one, you'll have a slow motorbike.
Yeah.
But also, if you take power out at the beginning, it has to come back in at some point. So then you get a lumpy feeling of motorbike, and then it's hard to manage where that power comes back in.
Yeah.
And also, you can get a numb sensation because you open the throttle and nothing happens. And then if it's too numb, the rider's then searching for it and actually just going almost like a light switch.
Yeah.
Which has actually done the opposite effect of what you wanted. So it's really, really difficult. And I think once you find that sweet spot, it's so important to kind of stay there. And it seemed like once they got to Brands, halfway through Brands, like Struxton, they found that sweet spot.
And it just shows you, like, the level of BSB is so tight. And, you know, for them to make what on paper would be quite a simple change, essentially, and have such a big impact. But fundamentally never put a new engine in it. They never changed anything.
Yeah.
They never...
No new suspension, no new...
It was a setting thing. And then maybe a personal...
And also to quantify it, we're talking, he probably went...
3/10 quicker.
2-3 quicker.
Yeah.
A lap, which is mad.
But,
like, ridiculous.
Yeah. And I mean, and then, you know, onto Cadwell Park, really, which is always a funny point in the season, I think, because you've got... Cadwell is, again, one of those, like, specialist circuits. It's getting that way now, isn't it, would you say?
Well, I just think I think those... It always seems to be that you go Thruxton Cadwell or Cadwell Thruxton, whichever way round it is.
And them two rounds
are just very anomalous rounds.
Yeah.
They're very different in terms of layout. They're very, like, it's polar opposite. But also, like you say, you definitely get your Thruxton specialists. And you get Thruxton specialists not just in riders, but in bikes.
Yeah. Actually, do you know something? I've been a right knobhead here.
What?
We've moved on from Thruxton and I've talked about you getting a podium.
Oh yeah, I got a podium. Next.
Is that your first podium of the year, though?
Yeah, it was so.
And your bike was particularly strong there.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'd had a really slow start to the year. We were kind of up there more or less, but it was difficult.
Couple of crashes.
Yeah, I kept folding the front. I was really struggling with front feel. I kept starting to trust it, and then tucking the front, and then I would not trust it because I fell off.
Yeah. Sort
of thing. So it was tough. Then we did a test at Knock Hill. Just before Knock Hill, and just worked so hard. It was one of the most incredible tests I've ever done, because it was just weird because we stuck to the test plan. So if I liked something, we didn't continue in that way.
You continued what you were going to try.
We just went, okay, we've tried that, I liked it, take it out and continue with the next thing that we want to try. And then, weirdly, if it was something I didn't like, and then the next thing to try was something I didn't like, but even further that direction, we still did it, because who knows, if you go further,
you might
maybe
find
there is something I like.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a really weird test, but it was mint. And actually, we found a way that when we went to future rounds, what they gave us was a really good database of
A wide range of. We've tried these scenarios.
Exactly. What feels good in this type of corner, because every track's different. Didn't really get to do much at Knockhill because it was kind of wet and everything. And Fraser beat me to the podium there, but it was a good round, but it was more masked by the rain.
Yes, of course.
Then we went to Brands and the bike was absolutely incredible. It was so good. Best bike I've ever ridden around the back section of Brands ever.
Really?
It was just fantastic. Funny enough, they'd resurfaced Dingle Dell. And
it was really bumpy, wasn't it? Yeah.
Do you know what? My bike was insane over the bumps. I wished they'd resurfaced the rest of it as badly as they did there, because it was ace. I could literally see other bikes like chattering across these bumps.
Because it was like 2 patches of tarmac, wasn't it? Right at the curb. It was a really weird.
Horrible.
Because they smoothed it out for the last round.
Yeah,
and
they
was better.
redid it, and then I got to Thruxton and it was just insane how good our bike was. Unbelievable. And
do you think it just works well on the side of the tyre, or like what is the reason?
Do you know what? Between, is it Village and then Church?
Yes.
So the run out of Village was a joke how good it was. Like, my dad told me off in, I think it was the first race, so like, you burnt tyre, you did whatever. Here I'm like, I'm not
touching
doing
it.
That without throttle open, like it is picking up grip. I'm not touching it. I'm not.
Yeah.
And I've had it in other years. I've had plenty of years where I've been like, you're just trying to find that little bit of grip, and then you're like, oh, burnt tyre. It spins. I've burnt tyre every time. Whereas on the Kawasaki, it never moved.
Yeah,
it just went forwards, and it went forwards at like what felt like 20% throttle. It's not 20% throttle, but it was generating speed.
Yeah.
And first race, I thought I'd done the perfect job, because it is, even though you're not burning tyre, it's still one of those you can't escape at the front. It was one of them. I was like, right, no, stay in the right place. And Danny, I know I just laughed about it then. Danny put a move on me that I'm not against. I'm just joking. I would have done the same move, but all it did was put me back at the wrong point.
Yeah. What
had happened is the whole race, everyone's sort of waiting for the last 3 laps.
It's really weird to watch, because you look and you think, what? Come on, lads, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
But actually, everyone is just trying to get around. They'd be better off if they just had a 5-lap sprint.
Well, yeah, what actually happened? That actually happened in the second one. And then, but yeah, Danny managed to just leave me wide a little bit, and I nearly ran off track. But it was literally in the last 3 or 4 laps when everyone went, right, this is what we got left, and started opening the throttle. So my pace was no better, because
you were already at.
I was already at kind of I would have been mint if I was within the group, but I was then having to catch the group back up, which I didn't do. So I was really disappointed. And actually, Max got on the box, which was fantastic for the team, and I was super happy for him. But I was absolutely devastated, because I felt like I'd done literally everything right.
And a little thing just puts you in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And then the second race, we had a red flag because Danny Webb crashed on the Aprilia.
Yes.
With, was it Blaze maybe?
Blaze Baker, yeah.
So they red flagged that one, and then we had like a 5 or 6 lap race around Thruxton, which is literally the only time I've ever ridden Thruxton for more than a qualifying session, as in 1 or 2 laps, where you go full tilt on a superbike, and what an incredible race. Like, I don't remember exactly the lap times, but let's say, I think it's 1:14 or something. I don't think I'd ever done one before going there that weekend.
Yeah.
And every lap in that race, apart from the first lap, was
in that lap times,
in that. It was
PBs.
Mint. And then, managed to box off a podium in the last one. So it was good, but genuinely the bike rode itself in that one. So,
well, I beg to differ.
It was pretty good.
I beg to differ. But yeah, mega weekend for you guys, and then you carried that on into. Oh, sorry, Brands was before that. You said had a great weekend at Brands. Carried that on into Thruxton.
It was a bit of momentum, but also the Thruxton and Cadwell, another rider that started coming to the fore, who I think had in general had more quiet season than what I think I was expecting. A bit more. And I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, was Charlie Nesbitt.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, because he was another rider that went on to be really strong at Cadwell as well. And I'll be honest, I expected a bit more from him. I think at this point in the season, this point in his BSB career, he'd been with that team for quite a while. And I think he's this season had moments of brilliance and shown his class, and then other times not so great. And I think that's more to do with his situation than him.
Okay, that's fair. Do you think that he made a step from last year.
Yeah,
You do.
but not consistently,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So I think,
Because when we talk about riders, we're talking about there's lots of riders in BSB that are in different scenarios. You know, we've got the older guard,
yeah,
and then we've got those that are sort of in the middle of it. You've got sort of your Brad, your Kyle, your Rory that are kind of in the middle ground. Then you've got like your Spuds and your Max,
yes,
teammate.
yeah, the new guard really coming
guards.
through. Yeah,
So we've got different elements to talk about, and obviously what you need to see from the younger ones that aren't actually that much younger. So you've probably got your Storm, Max, and Nesbitt. We can group them as a 3, really, because
Yes.
they've kind of all been in it about 3 years or something.
yeah. So that younger in terms of their experience in BSB, but not in terms of necessarily age over like
'Cause
the
they're not-
Kyle and
yeah,
Brad.
they're not-
but,
yeah. Yes, in terms of experience.
I think riders come in waves, don't they? There was the Kyle, Brad,
Yes.
Taz wave.
Yeah.
You were about 50 years ago.
Still here,
I think Steve Islop was still riding when Christian first started.
just after me.
I'm only kidding. Yeah, and then in those 3, Storm, Max, and Nesbitt were kind of
We can kind of group them together,
Yeah,
can't
for
we?
sure, for
As
sure.
the- as
Took
the-
different
when you're
paths,
looking
but
at
got
who's
there,
coming
yeah.
next, they're the 3 that are in the current championship that you can.
Do you know Nesbitt for me reminds me of Alex Lowe's?
Okay.
The Alex Lowe's who of first stepping into BSB, so rode loads of different stuff and was fast, but then a crash and fast and a crash. Maybe he's not quite doing exactly the same thing, but I couldn't help but think about Alex Lowe's when he was riding around at Brands in the front in that wet race at the last round of the season, trying to win a race
Yes.
and crashed. And I just thought, like, his situation could help him better, if you know what I mean. So his whole package is, I think maybe it's ready for time for a change for him. I think a change of environment would be good for him.
I mean, the strong rumour that I've heard is that a change of environment is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet. Where is
I mean, the strong. I'm not going to go out there, but strong rumour is that he'll be on a similar motorcycle
in a different environment.
environment.
And I don't think that's anything. I'm certainly not slagging the team off or anything like that. But sometimes maybe he's a bit stale or whatever. Like he's been there a long time, and he just needs a bit of a change, if you know what I mean. So I think he's definitely he's. It'd be really, and we'll come on to this, I guess, right? Because it's also been announced that Tommy Bridle's not going to be riding for Honda.
Yeah, well, we need to fully do the rumour mill, but Hawk Racing for sure is one that I've heard very little about.
Yes.
Very, very little about.
And actually, like, for me, Nesbitt is one of those, like, he's on the cusp of, like, if you listed riders of who you wanted, all the like main ones are gone. He would be like next on that list at the minute.
Yeah, fair.
Do you know what I mean?
There is a fair list actually, but we'll go through it.
Yeah. So anyway, we're jumping ahead, but yeah. So that was we're on to Cadwell really, and again a pivotal moment in the championship. So Nesbitt had a strong weekend. Bridewell, strong weekend.
Won a race.
Yeah, won a race. Crashed in a race. Weirdly.
I still can't. Greg, can you just check if he did one or two races that year? He definitely won one at Cadwell. I think he won another one.
Yeah,
somewhere.
maybe it was 2 races then. But so it had been super strong all weekend. We know that he goes well there.
Yeah. Honda's test track.
Yeah.
It's not Honda's test track, but it's where they go. Shall we say.
I'm not sure they use it as much as we'll probably think, or certainly that they did in the past.
But they definitely do because the other Hondas were also are helped by that because when Honda rent a track,
they
part
get on
of the
it.
deal is that the other Honda teams are allowed to go as part of their package.
Yeah, and I know they did a few at Donington this year and stuff, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yeah. And a lot of that was with the new change of rules that we've had this year.
Yes, for what you can and can't do and where you can do it.
So Donington's one of the main ones now.
Right. Okay. So, but I tell you who else was impressive at Cadwell? His teammate Andy Owen.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
It annoyed me 'cause
he mugged you to a podium.
He passed me on the halfway through the penultimate lap to mug me for a podium.
Yeah.
But then had another podium. So he did a double podium on the Sunday, I think it was.
He did, yeah. He did. So
In fact, he did a triple podium.
He podiumed in every race, didn't
Yeah.
he? So he had a fantastic weekend, obviously.
And good timing for him.
Very good. Yeah, very,
Because
very
he'd been
good.
quite quiet up until then.
Yeah, I mean, I feel a lot for Andrew. He's had some horrendous injuries. And he's had some horrendous injuries over the last few years, and that the arm injury that he had a few years ago or last year, whatever it was, I don't think people realised how bad that was. And it took a bit of coming back, and I just think the latter part of this season he rode really, really well.
Yeah.
Obviously had that bloody massive crash at Brands, which was spectacular, but he walked away from it, which was good to see. And
but then did end the season.
He did end the season injured, which again I feel super sorry for him, because I just think he deserved a little bit more than that.
And you went off Tommy Bradwell announcing he's not staying. Honda/Andrew announced that Andrew's not staying, which actually, and we will go on to it, we keep saying, but given the current situation, I don't know why they decided to announce that Andrew wasn't staying. It was something that might have been thought but didn't need to have been said, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because their lineup they've got now, Andrew would be an excellent
set up in
continuous.
Yeah.
Because I always think it's always good as a team, and I'm not a team owner or manager, and so I've got no reason for saying it other than I think continuity is great for at least one rider, because they're a great benchmark and they know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was really surprised when they went, Andrew's not staying, because that to me struck as they've got their two riders settled there and then, which actually seems like it's not the case.
Yeah. I think the thing that's gone against Andrew is his tenure at Honda. And in the same situation as Nesbitt, really. I think it's more...
You've been there a while and it's not...
Sometimes you just need a change, and that's not just the riders. There's a lot of people involved in the Honda Racing team, and as is all of them. And sometimes they just need a shift, a change.
Yeah.
And I feel like a bit of a new era for Honda going next year. Like, there's quite a bit going on. They've got one rider announced, don't know what the other rider's going to be yet. Slightly different change in like management and stuff like that. So there's a bit of a... Certainly feels a bit of a new look and feel, if you like, if you can, for Honda.
Yeah. I mean, we've had lots of comments on people asking, but there's a big change at Honda this year. So the main man that's been there for a long time is now not there. So Harvey Beltran, who's been there within the Honda UK corporation for decades.
Tens of years,
basically disappeared.
Yeah, has moved on for whatever reason. Nobody knows why. Yeah,
like we're not holding anything back because we don't know anything. So all the people commenting, I'm really sorry, but we genuinely don't know the answer. Yeah, and it's been very quiet. So you can speculate all you want, but sadly, I don't think. I think there's very few people that know why that's been the case. But it's it's actually quite an important thing, because that status quo, maybe that'll be a shake-up that not they need, but like a fresh set of eyes or a fresh person at the top.
It just changes the dynamic of everything, doesn't it? It doesn't necessarily mean that individual brought this unique thing that was like a silver bullet. That's just a little bit what we talked about earlier. It's just the setup of the whole function. Yeah. And the mindset and the mentality that's driven throughout it. Now, I think...
I'm not saying that whatever is going to happen will be better or worse. Yes. I'm just saying different.
So that's like...
It's a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah, I got to spend quite a bit of time like in the back of their garage this year through Jack, and we always parked up outside of their garage. And to be fair, I have to say a big thank you to Scott and Tom and Ryan and all of sort of Jack's crew for being so accommodating with us and helping us out with... helping us out this year, actually, just running out the front of the garage and stuff. But one of the things that... when we'd always join them for a track walk of an evening. And one of the things that always strikes me about that team that's just different to everybody else is the harmony. Okay. So there was just, everybody was there to do a job, and the setup is just so immaculate is the word I would use, in every aspect, from like the look and feel of it to how everybody goes about their business. You would never hear a raised voice. You would never hear there was never tension. Yeah, like it was just always good, and you could argue that they've had some difficult scenarios with the likes of Tommy Bridewell, right? So, that sort of mentality is clearly something that's across the business. Yes, and you would think would remain, but like you say, a slightly different structure, and it might change things up a little bit. But they had a fantastic weekend at Cadwell, despite Tommy Bridewell crashing, and actually now you start to think, championship could be back on, or could start to be taking a different direction. Then you've got Brad Ray having a bizarre race on the Saturday where Kyle caught him and was really looking like he was struggling for pace.
Yeah, that race, Brad was away with it, basically. It was a race over, and then Kyle chipped away. I don't necessarily think Kyle chipped away. I think Brad
came back, yeah.
Came back.
Yeah, 100%. There was some issue.
Held on to it.
Yeah,
Which if it wasn't Cadwell, I don't think he would have done.
No. It was, yes, absolutely. Cadwell being a narrow circuit kind of supported that for sure.
Then Tuck's the front in the first race on Sunday.
Yeah, they then had that like bizarre crash. And for me, that was the downward spiral of his season.
Yeah.
So he was on the struggle bus from...
And then race 3, I think he finished... Might have been outside the top 10.
Yeah.
I know that some of it was said maybe the bike didn't feel the same, which is potential.
Yeah, but I mean...
after that, but...
Everyone says that, and I think, like, if you... I mean, they're not a shit team, right? They've won plenty of British Championships.
Yes.
And they've got a lot of like, knowledge in that garage. So you know, they would just build a new bike or fix it or whatever. But for whatever reason, following that crash, whether it was a personal thing to Brad or the bike or whatever, he definitely was on the back foot, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Which carried on into Donington.
Yeah.
And we had 4 races.
Yes,
so
you had a big weekend there, didn't you?
I think we did less laps than normal, but because they made it 4 sprint races, which I didn't like because it massively changes the dynamic
of the weekend. Yeah,
of the weekend. You spend a lot of time in BSB working on tyre life and working on this, that, and the other, and then when they take that element away, essentially it creates quite a different format.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is the weekend that Kyle Ryde won the British Championship.
Okay.
So I think his performance here was just a level above, and he won 3 races, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was just the stake in the ground for him.
Yeah.
The performance was... Yeah. And actually, Kyle's like actually really enjoyable to watch around Donington.
He's unbeliable.
It's just nice to watch, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't want to say that word, but yeah.
What beautiful.
I didn't want to...
I didn't want to call Kyle
beautiful. I didn't want, Grace to cut that out to go, oh, Kyle's beautiful, isn't he?
Well, you've literally just done it now. That's getting
fucking hell, yeah. Oh, Christ. Anyway, but yeah, no, what a mega weekend for him. And
Scott was back strong again because he was really quiet at Cadwell. Yeah. Crazy quiet.
Yes, and which I guess if there was a place you'd expect him to struggle, it would be there.
He's been there. He's an ex-British champion. He has raced around there.
Yeah, I know that, but if there was a place that you would find it hard to come back to, it would be there, wouldn't it?
Do you know what the other thing is? At Cadwell, it's really difficult. If you get stuck in a train of people doing similar lap times, which everyone's doing in BSB.
Yeah.
But kind of, it's not where you start, you finish, but it's very hard to sort of pick your way forward if you've started a bit further back. And I think he just started the weekend in a certain position and then
struggle to move forward from it. Yeah. And the qualifying format being the Super Bowl is a different...
Oh, it was the only time we had a Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. What was your song?
It's my first dance.
Something from when God was a lad.
Oh my God!
It was so old.
No, it's not. It's a dance track. And it's Down with the Kids.
It's talking about Down with the Kids. The kids that dance to that song now have got Zimmer frames and in nursing homes.
Yeah. Well, I bopped to it.
I'm sure you did.
I can't believe I said the word bopped.
He's making all my points for us here. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, the Super Bowl, which actually is a spectacle to watch, is fantastic, and I'd love to see more of that happening. It just for me echoes all the old school World Superbike days, and I really enjoy them. But yeah, funny old round Cadwell. Moving on to Donington, where obviously we just said Kyle was immensely strong. Rory and Danny Ken both strong that weekend as well.
Yep, solid.
Which was kind of another change of pace, if you like. Andrew Owen had a big crash, which kind of ended the season, but did end the season, so that was the...
And someone who hadn't been strong for a few rounds, actually, was, and we spoke about how amazing he was at the start of the year, was Haslam, who kind of went a real quiet middle of the year.
Yes.
Don't know why.
Consistently kind of thereabouts, but not fighting for wins.
Yeah, kind of like 4th to 10th sort of place.
And again, Brad had a real, I'm going to call it bipolar weekend again, where he just was struggling and then all of a sudden fast again.
Yeah.
So struggled in race 1 and then in 2 and 3 he was fast again. And
I mean, the one thing I will say probably about Brad is I would say as a one lap pace, there is nobody
as good.
as good.
Yeah.
He sometimes does things even in a sector, and you go,
How?
"That no," like he's missed a bit.
No.
Just no, he's definitely missed a bit out there. Like
Yeah, he's got the cars, he's got the cameras up.
it can't be. Like it's just insane. You can't in tracks where we're trying to find a tenth on someone or half a tenth, and he'll pull 3/10 in one sector, and you go,
How?
"What?"
Yeah. It is scary, that, isn't it? It is scary. Yeah, so then that takes one nicely to Assen, actually, which was...
Our local round.
Well, it was for you, yeah. It wasn't for me, but...
Oh, yeah, you went the long way round.
I went the long way around because I'm tight. Or unorganised, one of the two, or both. It's honestly pleasure to have Assen back on the calendar.
Brilliant.
What a phenomenal place. Definitely feels like a bit of a British busman's holiday anyway, and has always had that kind of like stigma, hasn't it? So,
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic addition to the championship. Just brilliant. Class.
I mean, I still don't quite understand why we go there, but I'm not against it in the slightest. In fact, I'm very much for it.
I do think it fits into the story of BSB really well. It's easy to get to in the grand scheme of things, and yeah, class. Just absolutely love it. But again, you've got the likes of Scott and Brad who have just been doing quite a lot of laps around there from a World Superbike perspective. People like Kyle, who hadn't been there for a little while. It took a bit. He had a slow start to the weekend, from what I remember. But Brad seemed very much in qualifying and practice back on the pace, and back up there. And then
and there was the added. It was the first round of the showdown, so the points are more important now. So it's crunch time.
Yeah. So like this is the proper sort of like beefy end of the season, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the people who you sort of would expect to be up there, having had experience of Assen and so on, were. And then the racing was like actually just like a really difficult situation, wasn't it? So the first race absolutely lashed it down, didn't it?
Unbelievable.
So what always happens at Assen is...
And we'd had no dry running.
At all?
No wet running, sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's what I mean. So what normally happens is it's dry, and then immediately 30 seconds later, it absolutely rains for no reason, and then stops and dries again. It just, I guess, for whatever reason, that's always what happens. And it had been totally dry all the way up until your first race on the Saturday.
Pretty much until pit lane opened.
Yeah. And then it was like...
Because even when we went to the grid, it was spotting with rain, but there was a big cloud coming. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't wet, but they declared a wet... I think they declared a wet race straight away, because they did need to, because it was spitting on.
So then all hell broke loose, essentially. Chaos, everyone rushing around getting tyres. But it was monsoon rain. You decided that you were going to go and have a day trip to Groningen at one point, after having been... I was pretty convinced you were going to win the race.
So it was a really weird scenario, and one I doubt will ever be replicated for me ever again. None of us had any wet running. I didn't do the 2 laps of warm-up, because at this point, it wasn't, like I just said, it wasn't really that wet.
Yeah.
It was like drizzling on, but everyone could see where the rain was coming from. It was pretty clear it was going to
be wet.
It was going to be wet.
Get your wet in and off you go, lads.
And so basically, it's all 3 races at Assen. I don't know why. We had 3 long races. We didn't have a sprint, I don't think, there. Pretty sure we had 3 longs. Anyway, whatever it was, probably because we didn't have other classes. I might be wrong. Anyway, I was like, right, it's 18 laps or 20 laps. It's a long time. To 30 minutes till the end of this race. So, sat on the grid, I was like, right, let's put in the hard compound rear tyre. Which, every time I've ever used the hard compound rear tyre, I've hated it. Literally hated it. Can't ride on it. But my thought process was...
It might dry.
No, it's kind of dry now. So, if the other people on the normal rain tyre go out and melt it...
Then when it rains...
they're in no better off, because they've got a melted good tyre, but I've got a non-melted harder tyre.
Yes.
So that was my thought process. Did the warm-up lap, and by now it started to really piss down, to be fair, so I was like, I'm in trouble. In truth. Scott went off at the front, and actually, given how he'd not been that great in the wet most of the places, absolutely bolted and went. I took a bit of building up, and then, the bike just never moved. It was insane. I was struggling on corner entry, which is kind of why I went on. I just shifted a bit early, and I had no rear grip. So when I shifted, it just locked the rear. But I couldn't get it to unlock, shall we say. So I had to go straight. I went straight on at turn 1, and then I was just about slowed it down. Then there's about 500 metres of painted tarmac. Cause I was
Which
like,
you can't
I can't turn or stop or brake, so I had to let go of everything on that. Then all of a sudden I realised that maybe I'm not going to stop, because when you don't do that for very long, you're then looking at barriers, aren't you?
Yeah.
Managed to keep it on track anyway, like went a long way round, came back on, I lost 15 seconds or something that lap, went down to 14th to 15th place. But then got my head down, and I've never been in a race like it where I've had pace in a BSB race where you struggle to be a tenth of a second faster than someone.
Seconds faster than
faster, and it was insane. But the rain started coming heavier and heavier, and people were going down. I think if it had done the full distance, there was a chance there was a strong possibility I could have podiumed.
Yeah, maybe you won the race.
There was a possibility I could have won the race. Yeah. There was a high likelihood I would have roofed her. But it was mint. You know, like I've never been in a race like it. Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And then, who won that race in the end? Because it got
Scott Red.
So Scott won that one.
Scott won the race, yeah.
Because he'd already bolted, hadn't he, and gone.
Yeah, but then so he'd gone. He won that race.
Yeah.
Obviously, the race got stopped.
But it got half points, didn't it? Because it didn't go full two thirds.
Yeah. But they stopped that. They stopped the Supersport race, and they rescheduled everything for the next morning. So,
which was supposed to be dry, and then wasn't.
Which started out dry, and then it really wasn't. Which you went on to win.
Yeah, which was nice.
It was, and I seen you cry. I seen you crying, and I seen all the emotion. No, it was honestly, mate. In all fairness, it was absolutely class, and it really, because like Redden was nowhere in that race.
Do you know what I think he did?
Hard wet.
Yeah.
So something he definitely did was different.
I just want to to the listeners. That is if you don't switch that tire on, it absolutely doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I'm not absolutely 100%, but I'm fairly
and it just shows you the difference.
It shows the difference. So he went from winning to being
to last. Well, not far off.
Not far off. I opted for the hard wet again, just because I'd had such a good feedback from it that I kind of knew where I was at with it.
Yeah.
So it worked for me, but yeah, for me, for my race then, I wasn't expecting that first race to be wet on the Sunday. I kind of thought that it was done. The wet races were over with, because it was due to be dry on the Sunday, but it wasn't. So the race that I won was wet.
Yes.
Yeah? But having been so fast in the
wet race,
I sat on pole because I'd done the fastest lap the day before. I was like, oh my God, like I felt so much pressure. It was insane.
Is this in the dry race?
No, in the
wet
race.
For the second wet race, yes.
For the wet race that I'd managed to box off.
Yes, yeah.
But I was sat on the grid being like...
panicking.
Like, I know how fast I was yesterday.
Now I've got to do it again.
And now I've got to do it again. But I also have been off track, so I know how easy it is to make a mistake. You've got 18 laps ahead of you with 15 corners a lap. You literally do one mistake in any of those 15 corners times 18. And you've wrecked it. And it was a different scenario, because I got the whole shot, which I didn't really want to do.
You just go?
Well, no, I didn't go just go. I didn't know how hard to push. The day before I had nothing to lose because I'd been off track and it was coming through the pack.
Yeah.
Whereas that one, I'm at the front, so any mistake you do make, then you're a right knobhead, aren't you?
Well, it's easier said than done, but yes.
And it's all well and good knowing you can do something, knowing you can win a race, knowing my bike was brilliant, because there's no denying my bike was fantastic in those conditions, which is a big, part
of course,
of how we got the results. But there's a big difference between knowing you can do something and actually going out and doing it. And it was one of them races. I never had more than a second. I think Rory came through and was super strong, and I could hear the bike. It was that close. Never had more than a second on my pit board. Every time it went under half a second, I tried to do a push lap to break his spirits. I knew I couldn't break him,
but you might.
I didn't want to push the envelope.
Discourage him to hold off. Yeah.
But yeah, so to take a win with the AJ and Steelstock Kawasaki squad, a team that I've gelled with.
You've enjoyed working with them.
I've really enjoyed working with them. It was absolutely mint.
Yeah,
I did roof it in the final race, but funny enough, they were quite okay about it. So
yeah,
it was all right.
I mean, that was a weird crash, very weird crash. You almost I
think it was down before. So again, we'd had the last race was dry. We'd had a restart. I can't remember why we'd had a restart.
It rained.
Oh, I was like, it drizzled, didn't it?
Yeah, they set off. It was dry. It rained, but it didn't rain.
It didn't rain. I wish they hadn't red flagged that one.
So then everyone went back out.
Carried on, but they've got to be safe, haven't they?
Yeah. So then he went back out on dries, and then for whatever reason,
took the front.
Yeah, you went down.
Barrel rolled it. But anyway,
the people on the podium in that last race then was. So Redden had a mint race, then a crap race, then he had another mint race. And did he win? I think he won that final race, didn't he? And then, but also Kyle...
And the winner of the round was Leon, if you got off points.
Yes.
And the winner of the round at the penultimate round was also Leon, who suddenly just came back up.
Yeah. So then we left Assen with, like, again, Brad having a bit of a up and topsy-turvy weekend. Kyle was up the front scoring, Redden and Haslam. Obviously, Redden's out of the chance of the title at this, for obvious reasons. And then we get to...
but Brad also crashed in the first race on
the Sunday.
Saturday, the one that got red flagged.
The wet, that's right, he did.
He crashed out of that one and didn't score.
That's true, yes.
So
forgot that he went down there, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, another shift in dynamic again.
Well, more than anything, another round where Kyle's outscored Brad.
Yes, which was important for him.
But he was still leading the championship, wasn't he, after Assen?
Yes.
It was coming down, wasn't it?
It was, getting tight. So then we're on to round 10. Alton Park. Mm-hmm. Another mix of weather.
Yeah.
Like, absolute,
crazy mix.
Yeah, absolute mad. So the all day Friday dry. And then Saturday, heavens opened.
Yeah, and then sat on the grid again. No one knows what to do. It dries quick around Alton
because it had been a bit
hit and miss. Well, all of Friday was wet.
Yeah, so and then you were literally on the grid, weren't you, to go?
And it rained. In fact, I think the first race second race we got red flagged again for a drizzle of rain. But yeah, on the grid, the whole first two rows, because I was sixth on the grid, I think, were full wets. I turned around and looked, and
some people
I saw Leon and Josh on Inters, I think, and then I was like, I knew I'd gone wrong straight away.
So did that put a bit of doubt in your mind, and that's why you came in to make a tyre change?
Yeah, so I messed it up. Basically, I came into the pits, I set off, went round turn one, so the wettest bit of the track was literally the bit we were sat on the grid.
Yeah.
I went through turn one, I'm like, that's dry. Through the avenue, down Cascades, it was absolutely bone dry. I'm pretty sure I had the hard wet on, which by then wasn't a bad choice. And I think Kyle ran with that. Me and Kyle we were chatting quite a lot about what to do on the grid, because we do talk to each other about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got halfway around the well, I didn't get halfway around. I got out of turn one on the warm-up lap and thought, I've done wrong. This is bad. Knowing that the guys behind
were on Inters.
I was like, right, I need to go back. I wish I'd committed sooner, because I could have done sighting lap 20 to 30 seconds faster. Came into the pits, but only with a 5-second gap over the field, who obviously had to grid up and then set off. The boys obviously weren't ready for me, because at no point did we spoke about I might come back into the pits.
Yeah.
So they were super quick at changing them, but it felt like forever, but it will do. Like, I literally heard the pack set off, and my wheels, I don't think, were even out my bike. I was like, that's it.
I've knocked it,
It's over it. And then the rear went in pretty quick, and then the front didn't, for whatever reason. But again, the reason is they weren't expecting me.
Yeah.
Then they were like, what tyre do you want in the front? And I thought, I haven't got time to have this conversation. I wanted an Inter, and I don't know why I didn't just say an Inter, because it would have been as quick for them to do it. I don't fucking care, just anything will do. So I had full slicks on, which wasn't really what I wanted. But I didn't give them really the information they needed. And actually, if the race had continued, because it drizzled again halfway through, if the race had continued, I think I probably got a top 6. Bear in mind, I set off like 40 seconds behind.
Yes.
Because it would have worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of them. But yeah, it was a topsy-turvy race. And actually, Josh Brooks won that one, who we haven't even talked about.
Not at all, yeah. So a big season. Big season.
That one.
Yeah, it was that one, yeah. So a big season for them changing manufacturers, and
it's him and Lee Bob.
Yeah.
Lee Jackson. He got injured at Brands.
Yeah, Lee was
the first Brands, and then
injured early on, wasn't he? And then unfortunately with a back injury, was out for a while. They had various people ride the bike. But Josh, I mean, God, I don't know the exact stats, but it's been a long time since he won a race.
Yeah, I mean, Donington, the first Donington we had, he hadn't really been anywhere all weekend, and then
come strong, didn't he, in the end of that?
Strong.
Yes, that's right,
I think it was the last race of the weekend, maybe.
And he got a podium, didn't he?
And he got a podium, and it was insane. Josh, what's spectacular about Josh is he doesn't do anything spectacular.
There's everything
So
good.
when he comes past you, for example, and I remember it in that race, I watched him chip away ahead. He went past me and then kept on going forward and forwards, and I couldn't say why. He wasn't amazing on the brakes. He wasn't fast mid corner. He wasn't
just a little bit better. Yeah.
And then before I knew it, he got on the podium. I could see him going up under Starkey's Bridge and stuff, and I'm still coming down Craner. They'd had a big switch. They'd changed manufacturers, the Dow team and everything. But yeah, it was kind of a quiet year. And actually, and I'm not taking that race win away from him, because any race win's a race win. But I think without the confusion of not confusion, but without the tyre scenario that went on, I don't think
he would. They weren't in the position to win a race other than
actually, I think the fact they weren't in a position gives you the opportunity,
the minerals
to take a risk. Which is what I mean when I said when the first two rows take the tyre warmers off.
Yeah.
And they've all played it safe.
Yeah.
And then you look behind and you
like,
go, there's going to be someone that's a Storm or not that he was up as well, but there's always going to be someone who's further back that goes, do you know what? I'm not in a championship challenge.
Let's have a go.
I
mean, Fraser Rogers he'd gone on wets, didn't he? But he didn't have a good start to the race and led the race for a long time. It wasn't until right towards the end that he lost position. But one of those strange events, and obviously fair play to Josh for winning the race. It was pretty cool to see, actually. I was glad for them and the Dow team, actually. It's a big commitment to stop road racing and do what they did. Fair play. Kyle taking a third and Brad being quite a bit further back than that was a good thing for the championship again. Race 2.
One of the best races I've ever seen Brad Ray do. Ever.
Well, before that.
So we had a massive delay. We had an enormous delay because Hickman's bike shat itself.
I've seen you doing a bit of instructing on how the sweep brush works.
So there's a video of me. I don't know why the track wasn't drying. Obviously, we're now into autumn time, so the track doesn't dry as quick. But the track had been drying pretty good all weekend.
And then wouldn't dry.
They had to clean it loads. And then, so they put loads of water down, but not so much that it wasn't going to dry. And for whatever reason, honestly, we had a 4-hour delay or 3-4. It was insane how long it was. And then Stuart had asked myself and Glenn, because we're in the riders, I don't know what you call it, but senior riders, can you see what it's like sort of thing.
You didn't want to say that, did you?
Anyway, me and Glenn went down to assess if it was raceable and the options, because obviously, which is really good.
Peace Club.
Which is really good of the championship to do that and get a rider's opinion. But yeah, it just wasn't dry, and they had a blower on the back of a tractor, and they had leaf blowers. But yeah, this guy, there's a video of me, and the guy was just blowing the water that wasn't on the racing line, which is of no interest to me whatsoever, if you know what I mean. So I just tried to usher him
to the important bit.
But what's funny is actually the bit that was on TV, it cuts off literally at the point I grab him and I manhandle him across the track to the bit I want him to do. If it had gone on another few seconds, you'd be howling. But I did see it on one of the track day addicts Facebook things or something. It was funny. So we had a massive delay, then a dry race essentially, but the pace was really quite slow. Myself and Haslam got out front and actually made a gap straight away. And it was weird because I get the lap times on my Delta and stuff. And I'm like, this is
slow.
This is 1.5 seconds off what we do around Alton.
Yeah.
So the grip wasn't there, yes, but I think everyone just was, I don't know, a bit unsure, a bit uneasy.
I don't know. Delay, it's a difficult thing to manage that, isn't it?
And Brad, from what I've seen in the replays, came from no man's land. And I had my pit board, because at this point Leon has now passed me and I'm in second. And Leon wasn't going as fast as I would have liked him to have done. I felt like there was more pace to go at, but I couldn't make a way through. But yeah, my pit board basically went in 3 laps. It went sort of from 3 seconds to 1.5. And I'm like, when you see it go from 3 to 1.5,
you're like,
you know you're not going to defend against that. And then the next lap it went to 0, and then the next lap, which was the last lap,
a blue Yamaha
came flying past, and he then picked off Leon, and then you go, well, wow, like, this is the Brad Ray of old again.
Again, signs of brilliance with some difficult stuff sprinkled in over the top, like a bit of a weird situation. But yeah, it was a bit of a mad weekend for weather, the delays, all of the things. But in the same way the championship went in 2024, a super strong ride around for Kyle Ryde and ended up leading the championship by 30 points.
Yeah, and at this point, Kyle...
A definitive round.
Yeah, Kyle had now, throughout Assen, Alton and Brands, Kyle wasn't doing it by going out and winning and blitzing the opposition.
No, he was beating his opponent.
He was beating his opponent, and believe me, it was only them two really in the championship at that for half a year. I know, like, they did the usual thing and drag it out that Leon can maybe win, he can't win, right? Because that's...
It won't happen.
It won't happen.
Yeah.
Mathematically, yes, but no. So I think they both knew, Kyle knew especially, that he only has to beat Brad.
Yeah.
And then, after, with Kyle leaving with such a big gap, then we go to the last round where there's a 30-point gap, which sounds quite a lot, but the last round I think was 35 points for a win, and I think it's maybe 8 points between first and second, so it's massive.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say Brad wins all three, he needs someone else to get involved anyway.
Which is it's just a difficult scenario to a plan for, isn't it?
It is. But having said that, you've got Scott, who's going to be up there. You've got Bridwell, who's going to be up there. You've got everyone who's going to be up there. I might as well go through the whole grid.
No love lost between some of those people, right? There would have been no one would have had any issue getting themselves in the middle of that championship if there was a result on the table for them.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's a funny thing when there's a championship on the line, because it puts other riders in a situation
to make a decision,
to decide how to race.
Yeah.
And my full opinion on it, because I'm very good friends with Kyle, but I've also got an awful lot of respect for Brad, of course I have. But my absolute opinion on it is, if you race any differently, then you're changing the outcome. And by race differently, what I even mean is by not getting involved, you're getting involved.
Yeah, because you're allowing the result to be different.
Yes, because let's
say,
for example, you are in the championship and you're racing, and Brad and Kyle are there racing against each other, and you go, right, I'm going to sit in third and not knock anyone off and not get involved. But that's getting involved because Brad needs you to get involved.
Yeah. So you're already picking a side without picking a side.
You're picking a side without picking a side.
You're trying to be on the fence, but it's impossible.
Yeah.
And
but it never actually, that weekend, it never actually came to that.
No, it didn't. And it's like really difficult to know what to do. Brad knew what he had to essentially go do.
Yeah.
And Kyle knew what he...
And both of them were fast from the start of the weekend.
Yeah, which is what you want to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
We were hoping for a bit of a repeat, but I think going into the weekend, my head was saying Kyle.
Yeah.
Barring some... But stranger things have happened with the weather. Absolutely. And lots of things.
I mean, that last race was a wet one, and that must have been the longest 18/20 laps, whatever it was, of Brands Hatch that Kyle Ryde's ever done.
Yeah.
I know he lost a knee slider on lap 2 or 3.
I know.
Which is awful. For those of you that race or whatever, you'll know what it's like to not have that feeling.
Especially in the wet.
Yes.
It couldn't have been a worse time to lose a knee slider, horrendous.
I mean, can you imagine if he lost the front but then didn't hold it because he'd lost a knee slider? It would just be mental.
I know. Be super difficult, wouldn't it? And I don't know what's going through your head in that scenario, but we were sort of... Yeah, so we didn't get the ding-dong that we had last year.
No.
But...
It was like that last race was a slow burner, because as much as it wasn't a ding-dong, at any one moment, a mistake could have happened.
Yeah, so you would have flipped
it on its head.
Yes, absolutely.
It was a bit like a tennis match at match point, that actually if the other guy gets the thing, it goes on for another hour.
Yeah.
It flips off, and it's a complete opposite switch.
Exactly like you say, it's not over till it's over.
Exactly.
And really wasn't over till it was over. So it was really exciting from that perspective. Obviously, you had been strong throughout the weekend as well. And yes, you had a pretty awful crash in the second race, first race on Sunday, which we're all massively glad to see you walk away from. That was... It
was a biggie.
A big one.
I lost the rear Funny actually, that caught Fraser out in qualifying.
His was weird because he sort of
Fell
went
off the
and then
side
like
of it.
lost the.
Well, do you know what? Three of us did it in different ways.
Yeah.
So Fraser did not a half effort, but a half. He lost the rear, and then fell off. It came back, but then he fell off the inside. Yeah. I went full banzai and went right over the top, and Rory did a full pirouette.
Yeah.
And low side did a high side, shall we say?
Have you looked at your data since then and seen what you did different?
No, I mean, I think what happens in that corner is that time of year the temperatures are down, but it's the right hand side of the tyre, so it's warm enough, shall we say. But there's a reason why that corner has those sorts of crashes.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because if you just happen to get the drift, because as I started to go, I didn't think anything bad was going to happen. I never let off.
It was a nice strip, yeah.
It was fine. And what helps you in corners that you know exactly, when corners are fast, there's less chance of a high side because the speed rectifies the slide.
Yeah, it's your friend almost.
It's your friend, it helps you. But I think what happens there is because of that, because there's a compression. I think if you start to slide and then hit the bottom of the stroke, you never bottom out a rear shock, but you bottom out to the hard point
of the link,
and then I think it just then, if you then push the tyre without anything left, then that's what then continues it. Yeah. And I think that's all that happened, to be fair.
And a degree of lean angle more could have affected that if you ran deep a little bit and you want to come back. So yeah, very, very unlucky, but it was.
I mean, I was gutted because
you on for a strong rider.
Well, I had a good ride on the Saturday. Wasn't super fast, but I was constant. So I was like, right. The group in front was starting to come back to me on the Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to really, really push. And I'd had a few front warnings and I ended up crashing at Druge, which I was happy about because I'd lost the front in some much worse places before that. So I was kind of not disappointed. What was a shame was that before going into that round, there was a chance of finishing third in the championship. I ended up 8th because of what...
Did you?
Yeah, because I had no points in what's essentially a double...
Oh, that's
points.
A shame, that.
It's my fault. But you know, like...
I didn't realise that's how
bad I am.
How shit you were.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm gutted for you for that because I thought that you were...
No,
I knew you didn't, but I didn't think it dropped like that. But it just shows you how tight it is.
It is. It was that mid-pack, not even mid-pack, but that sort of second group was a super tight.
Yeah.
Which was
fair.
Leon, Rory, Danny, me, Tommy, Max was right behind. So, and then maybe Spud or something. You know, like that group was close in points.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of people that could go. But yeah, it was just a shame to finish off that way. But yeah, I had to go to hospital for some checks. And even that's how I know how long the race felt, because I felt it was a long race watching TSL for Kyle, when I was coming back. And I actually made it back for the end, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was a shame to finish the season off in that way. But I just decided from the outset we were having it, but that wasn't the plan. But
yeah, fair enough. Well,
no baddie, it's fine.
You walked away and everything was fine, so
yeah,
which is good.
Silly season, quick touch on silly season.
We've covered quite a lot there, but just to, I guess, a roundup of the year, mega season again, like ultimate show from everyone.
Yeah,
and the setup of the championships, great, like literally takes it down to the wire.
Yeah,
I'm sure riders don't think that, but it really is a good spectacle to watch, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching trackside and on the TV when we've not been there. Bit of silly season, I guess. First thing on the list, nitrous competitions, going to Ducatis.
Yeah, I mean it's something that's been talked about for a while, and then they announced it pretty quick. Yeah. I think Glenn went there knowing that was the case.
Yeah,
because actually we didn't talk about, but Glenn was very quiet in his Yamaha tenure, the second half of the year.
Yeah.
But I don't know if some of that was injury, some of that was knowing that he's waiting for the year, not waiting for the year after, but just getting through the...
There's a risk versus reward scenario,
yeah,
I think,
well put.
For sure.
Yeah.
Exciting. Do I think there's some questions here, like, do I think Kyle will be a triple champion? Kyle on a Ducati versus Brad on a Yamaha. Brad is going to hit the ground running, I would say, in the same way that he had done. He's got the package to do that. It might be harder for Kyle to do that, but Kyle has shown the resilience and the ability to have a steadier start and you maybe use that time that they're going to need and then still build and be strong and be there at the end. So absolutely, I think it's entirely possible.
Completely.
It's going to be a strong package for sure.
It's the first time in a while we've had new bike, really.
Yes, like a very new bike.
A very new bike. But the only thing we got to go off is they've tested already in World Superbike.
And it looks like a MotoGP bike and it looks ridiculous.
Well, Bulliger was faster. He dominated on the Sunday and then went even faster on the Tuesday test. Or whatever.
Yeah, like the thing looks like a weapon, doesn't it? Let's be honest. So that's exciting. I think a couple of like interesting rider moves, right? The one I'll start with is Mikkelček from the Superstock 1000 paddock.
Yes.
Do we think we'll see him in the MLAV team on a BMW or any Superbike? Yeah.
So he's interesting because he races BMW World Endurance and has a BMW contract that goes with it, and then sort of doubled up doing the Stock 1000 and was incredible.
Yeah, very much
Champion,
so.
Absolutely insane. I know him from further back, so I know more because a lot of people that watch British probably
never heard of him.
Never heard of him. And, who's this guy? And
European Superstock.
Who's this Ukrainian that's like
fast?
And he comes over and he looks all aggressive and he like that sort of thing. But he's a nice lad. Can ride a motorbike. I know that he's been touting himself about to different manufacturers, which surprised me.
Right.
So yeah, but I've not heard how that's gone.
Okay.
But I also don't think he'd be afraid. He was ex-German Superbike champion. I don't think he'd be afraid to go to Germany, America, another domestic championship if it doesn't work out.
He's a Superbike material, and I think he would do a good job on a Superbike in BSB.
Yeah.
Tommy Bridewell's the next one on this list. I mean, announced recently, won't be at Honda. I think
massive news.
Big news. Yeah, big news. I think from some of his cryptic, not very cryptic social media posts that he posted the other day in Italy with his old crew that he's worked with in the past.
Yeah.
That he could be a shoe-in for the new Superbike Advocates job.
Yeah, I mean, it's an obvious choice, really, because if you look at who's left over and what teams, I mean, it seems this year there's not that many seats available. If you go what seats are available, you go, right, there's Superbike Advocates, there's 2 at Hawk, but you can't really see Tommy going there. I've not heard anything about people going to Hawk, by the way. That is one that's quite quiet.
I've never heard it. Yeah, I did speak to Steve the other day asking if there was going to be a race of the year at Mallory, and he said no.
Oh, okay.
They're going to do it in the new year.
All right, cool.
Which is a great idea because the weather should be better.
Yeah.
He was on the way to the Sunflower, where they ran Eugene McManus.
So there is actually some.
Yeah, so Dan Brooks, who rides a stock bike for them, he rode the Superbike, and Eugene McManus rode it, and
he'd be good to step
won a couple of races, I think, and did well, and seemed to have a strong weekend. So
that'd be cool.
He would be, it'd be really cool to see that, wouldn't it?
But then what other seats? So Max Cook's staying on the on the AJN FS3 Bimota. So that's a really cool, interesting switch.
Yeah, definitely.
What I'm doing will be out there in a few days after this goes out. But I'm not. It's only going to be out for a few days, so I'm not staying where I am.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that seat's been filled. But yeah, I'm not
sure who.
Not sure who. So exactly what's going on there. So yeah, there's one there. There's no Mar Train, which is a big loss. Big loss. It was amazing to see them go out with a...
Yeah, pretty cool. I think deserving.
With a win. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty nice, and a nice way to bookend the chapter for them. I think they've been in and out of racing over the last 2 decades for all the right reasons, and I think stopping for all the right reasons. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll see part of that team continue on as part of another...
Yeah, I've heard a strong rumour that there's another team
acquiring
the whole setup.
Yeah.
And running, they're currently a 1 rider and running 2.
Yeah.
I think Danny Kent will go along with it.
Go with that, yeah. Obviously, on the subject of teams kind of merging and stuff, McCam's back to Raceways, which I guess we kind of all expected in a way. They have confirmed that we'll run Brad Ray again, and a new R9 in the Supersport class.
Which is cool.
Yeah, we've not touched on Supersport, to be fair. We'll maybe keep it for another session, but...
Yeah, because actually when you go about ride... So there's a few riders at the moment that are floating, isn't there, really?
Yeah.
So you've got Mikkelček, we spoke about. You've got Andrew Irwin. You've got now Tommy Bridewell, who I didn't expect to be floating at the minute.
No.
But he's now in the mix of floaters. You've got Rhys Irwin, the newly crowned British Supersport champion. Like,
I don't know why I'm not... Go? So, in my head, I feel like he'll stay doing what he's doing.
Okay.
But I don't know why I haven't been thinking about him as being a Superbike rider, but not that he's not I just think from what he said to us, maybe there's not the right opportunity for him. I don't
fair.
think he'll do the wrong opportunity in Superbike. He might as well stay and be a multiple British champion.
And as he spoke about when he came on the podcast, he's managed assisted by Shaky.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I found a little bit odd about the Rhys Irwin situation is I think I keep my ear pretty close to the ground. And I've
heard nothing.
Very little about him,
same.
if anything at all.
Yeah, but we didn't last year, and then the whole situation with their team and stuff came up very, very late in the day, didn't it? So I think, I'm sure we'll hear something about him soon. But you're right, there's been very little mention. Andy Irwin, for me, deserves a Superbike ride somewhere. On what we don't know.
No, we don't know.
There's actually, we're talking about quite a few riders and quite a few less seats.
Yeah.
I think safe to say you'll not be going back to Honda.
Yeah.
I think you can't sort of say.
Well, essentially, we've lost two teams really, because we've lost Martrain, McCann's.
Yeah.
Oh, not McCann's as a sponsor, but we've lost Martrain.
Yeah.
We've lost Fairburn, so McConnell's out of a seat as well.
But the Martrain thing's probably going to be accompanied somewhere else, isn't it? So we've lost a team, but we haven't necessarily lost a seat.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. So, but we've gained a seat elsewhere, so that one's evened itself out.
Yeah.
What we haven't spoke about yet is the Sencat team announced that they're going to run two
bikes, yeah,
on Yamahas. So they've acquired the nitrous equipment.
Yeah.
So they were essentially a one-rider team last year, so they're stepping up to two. So
I think there'll be a team of choice for lots of people. I'm sure there's a lot of people banging on the door. They've clearly got the sort of the backing, and if you're taking the equipment from the last two champions, then three. They've won 3 championships, but plenty of race wins and recent form. So that would make a lot of sense. I'm sure a lot of info will go with that as well, which I'm very interested to see how that turns out.
And then obviously the thing that sucks for me, because I hated it when Brad Ray came back, and he cost me a fortune this year, by the way, because I kept finishing 4th. Like, it literally cost me a fortune. And then Scott, you can add to that list. I literally would have paid my mortgage off by now if them two hadn't have to come back.
Scott was rumoured to be
we've got Scott back full time, because obviously we kind of talk about him as being in the championship last year, but
he wasn't.
He was, but wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't until the end of the season, was he? So
he still finished 4th after missing 3 rounds.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that is mad. He was rumoured to be going to Honda.
Yeah, but strong rumours, weren't there?
Yeah, but that doesn't seem to be the case now. No. It seems to be done deal now at PBM.
Yeah. But obviously the main thing that we haven't really... So I was going to say, now we've got another very fast ex-BSB rider that's done just 1 year and got wronged a little bit.
Yeah.
In Ryan Vickers.
Yeah. I think a very shrewd move by Honda. I think a good signing.
Okay.
And I think the start of what will be a strong career for Ryan Vickers, if I'm honest. Had the opportunity to test the World Superbike as well.
Yeah, because within that role, or certainly with Tommy, the role was not just racing BSB, the role was testing for World Superbike. Yeah. And it seems like Ryan's dropped straight into that, because literally 2 days after the last World Superbike race of his current...
I don't know if this is like confirmed or anything yet, but as strong, I'm pretty certain you can take it as like nailed on that Johnny Ray is going to be the test rider for Honda.
Really?
That he's going to be like their full-time testing team, which I think is absolute. If that happens, I would be delighted, because
it'd be cool, wouldn't it?
It's like finishing your career where you started it.
Yeah.
In a really nice way, with a link in the World Championship, because the test of the World Superbikes, but it's all managed at a Louth, where he started his career with Honda, Red Bull, rookies. I just think that's fantastic, and I really hope for Johnny that happens, because it was a shame to see him end with an injury.
But do you think if you're Johnny, you want to or need to do that? Do you think as a 6-time world champion?
I don't think it's about. I don't think it's about need. I don't think. Well, actually, probably is about need.
Because does a testing role fulfill the need? I don't know Johnny's finances, but I'm pretty sure he's done well for himself. And I get that there's an ex-sportsman's need, whatever sport you're in, to
have a sense of purpose.
To have a sense of purpose and to fill that gap. But does a testing role, do you think it fills the gap that racing has left?
We can't answer that question.
For him, no.
But my personal opinion on it is that it's got to help.
Yeah.
So if anything, it gives you a year to be not totally in your thoughts and gives you part of your life back. So yes, the travel and the riding and the risk is all there, but in a slightly less pressured environment.
Yeah.
And you're going to gain a bit of your life back. You will be at your son's football matches. You will be at things. You'll certainly miss a lot less. But you're still a motorbike racer, rider.
I suppose as well, it's also a soft exit rather than going cold turkey. You're kind of like being weaned off it.
100%. And I think that that's incredibly healthy. And I think that Johnny will have he was a product of this fantastic system in Red Bull Rookies that's gone on to create a lot of stuff, but he was the first iteration of it.
Yeah.
And I think the input he had from the likes of Robin Appleyard and the early days at Honda with 125s and so on and so forth, he would be a fantastic person to deliver that to an academy type thing in the future. An association and an involvement with Honda can only be a positive thing for him for the future.
Yeah, 100%.
And I just think
ambassadorial testing.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Be nice to see if it has any influence over the BSB team. I think Vickers is a class sign-in for them, to be honest.
So I've heard two very random potentials at Honda.
Right.
So this is completely putting it out there, but I've heard Darren Binder and Marcel Schrotter as potentials.
Darren Binder?
Yep.
Wow.
I know, that's what I thought. There's probably no... I mean, I rarely let the truth get in the way of a good rumour. So...
I mean, I'm not sure... Listen, there's not a long list of other people, so you've got rid of Tommy Bridewell, or Tommy Bridewell's
and you've already announced Andrew Owen, which is out, which, as I said, I think was now a mistake.
Of the people left of the people left in a seat, I mean, with the greatest respect...
Would you put McPhee on it? As an ex-Grand Prix winner?
I'm not... Yes, very deserving of the seat, but I just think Honda probably needs something a little bit further down the line.
Yeah.
That's no disrespect to John.
No.
But, like... no disrespect to the lads in the stock 1,000 class, but other than Mikkelchek, I'm not really sure there's anyone that Honda would be willing to invest in.
And that'd be a strong shout, to be fair.
Like they've
probably got the budget
what, to run a stock 1,000? You mean?
No, to afford him to pay his wages. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, but yes, outside of him, there isn't really anyone. I mean, they've got obviously strong people within the team, Jack Kennedy and Dean. Doing other projects, so whether that's a possibility for them, I don't know. But yeah, like, look, lots of options there. We're kind of running out of seats for people, aren't we? But
we are.
I think over the next couple of weeks we'll start to hear. I mean, there's no confirmation of Storm, but you'd like to think he'll stay where he is by the looks of that. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it all shapes up, really.
Yeah, I mean, we've had loads of patrons, so thank you to all the patrons. We've kind of answered almost all of them, I think. Thank you, Chris, by the way. I've just read that out. The old boy still got it, so thank you. Appreciate that, Chris. Nice that someone appreciates me.
Appreciate you for being old.
And he said what everyone's plans is for next year. We're actually going to go on to that in a bit with Josh and his crew. But for me, that will be out on Wednesday. So you listening to this after Wednesday, you now know. But if it's before Wednesday, you don't yet. So.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I say, we've answered a few of these. A lot of questions about Kyle. How do you think you'll go on the Ducati? I think phenomenal is the answer to that. I don't think you'll have any major issues. People asking a little bit about like the future of Superbike and stuff, which is probably a topic for another
quite long, that one.
Yeah, probably a topic for another pod. But to be honest,
great question.
Brilliant question. That's from Rich, just about electronic circuits and stuff. But yeah, I think we'll save that for the next pod that we do. A little bit talk about Vickers from Alex Wilson here, coming from World Superbikes. Yeah, I think we've kind of covered that. But great question, and certainly one that's on everybody's lips. There's a note here from a Chris Carlton. Thank you to Dom once again for taking the time out for himself and his daughter at Donington. And for getting them some t-shirts. Chris, is this the one who says you're an old boy? You still got it? Good man. Chris Turner just showing some appreciation for the podcast, and a little question about the competitiveness of the Yamaha. Again, probably one for like the next episode that we'll maybe go on to do. But yeah, I think it's really, in summary, I think the reason the Yamaha's is the best package for our circuits.
Yes,
It's the best blend of everything, given our rules and our riding.
exactly. It's not dominated at World Superbike, so as a bike, it's obviously not the best overall bike, shall we say? But I think the lack of electronics and its usability on difficult tracks and not no rider aids, but fewer to no rider assistances makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mint.
Excellent. So yeah, as Christian just mentioned there before, we're actually got the all the lovely guys and girls from the Chasin the Racin F900 team who are going to come on and
So who have we got coming on?
So we've got Tim Oliver and Penny Oliver, his lovely wife. Matty, I'm not even going to try and pronounce your surname. It starts with a P. It's fucking long, and he knows that I'll say it wrong, so he just lives by the code of Matty. And then the one and only Piggy as well. So I would just like to say my personal thanks to them. There's a lot of other people to thank for that, and we'll touch on it. But yeah, a huge thank you to those guys for the season, and I hope you enjoy what you're about to hear.
Let's get to it.
Right, so now we're joined by the Chasin the Racin F900 team.
Well, I am really. Well, because I feel a bit left out because I am the only one that's not in the Chasin the Racin F900 team.
Have a go.
I'm a bit scared I get beaten actually, so I think I'll pass on that one.
How is everyone?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Good.
all
It's been
good.
nice to catch up with these actually.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
seen these for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Feels like ages since the last round.
Well, it does feel like that.
Yeah, it
We
does,
were-
doesn't it? It's
yeah.
surprising. It's not long ago, but it seems
It
ages.
took ages to
doesn't
pack up, didn't it?
Well, yeah.
In the rain.
Is that 'cause it was raining or 'cause you were on the
They
base?
wouldn't know. They wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I left. Yeah, no lies.
Yeah, we went Sunday, didn't we?
We did. We certainly did. So, I guess we kind of just want to give a bit of an overview of the entire season, and we'll get lots of questions about the team. We've had like fantastic support from all the patrons and fans of the podcast, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to sort of talk everybody through it. I guess we should probably go back to where it all started, really, which was a bit of a flippant comment at the bike show.
About a year ago, yeah.
Well, I think there's a step before that because to me there was that, do you fancy coming to the bike show? I've got some free tickets. Well, there's not such a thing as a free meal, is there? I found out.
Chief tickets.
Actually goes, if we're really honest, it goes back even a bit further than that, and to the end of 2024 where
Your
we
wildcards.
did some wild cards. So in sort of partnership with Leon Haslam and Gary Cutts, we used their bike to do Donington and Brands, and I'm trying to think really how that happened, but I was adamant I was going to ride a bike at Donington and Brands. Found a bike and an owner, and he was like, but there's no mechanics and there's no anything in it. I think it was Adrian Teasdale from Van Glass, really, who's a long-term friend of all of ours.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, Matty and Tim and Penny will be there. I'm sure they'll give you a hand. They're helping someone. And arrived at Donington with an F900. No idea what was going on, and I didn't even know if you guys were there or not. We'd spoken on the phone, I think, like briefly, and it just kind of went from there, really. And what actually happened is Hughes did the whole Hughes ran the whole show, and that went on to then doing the last round, and we had a bit of a better setup, and we sort of ran it all together and had some good results. And we had an 8th, I think, in the last round.
Can I just share my favourite kind of like one-liner from the Donington round? That was when you were preparing for your first outing, and you said, I'm aiming at a podium here. and I...
Sorry, did I just laugh out loud?
He said the same.
I remember thinking there's two chances. There's like none, and there's F-rolls or anything. But and he came in at P22 and pretty downbeat. But
Dejected.
But from there on, just kept progressing.
And built on.
Well, it's no joke, is it? Really, it's not a. I think when it first came out and Cooper did so much winning in the first year, everyone expected that because of who he is. Yeah. But I don't know if it was people were able to like measure the rest of the championship, and then the next year a few more people went into it, and it's grown and grown really in terms of its competitiveness. And absolutely, people like Neil McKenzie and Corser and
McWilliams.
Lots of people have jumped in it and not gone and like won immediately. It's not an easy class, so I definitely had that. I definitely had that mindset that it was going to be like, I've been off racing for 5 years, like dream. it'll be fine. And it wasn't, and it was difficult. And you guys were like really good at managing the expectations on that. But we did make a big step from the Donington round to the Brands round,
Yeah, for sure.
which was good. And actually, that was the kind of bit of fire I think that was needed. So I remember driving to Brands for the last round thinking, I really want to do something next year, but I almost just need to like prove to myself whether I'm capable, because, you know, finishing 15th is not really going to cut it. And yeah, we did. I think we finished 8th, but in the battle for the top 5, and it was good. So
You guys had a mint race as well, didn't you? It was you, Dom was racing in that
Yeah.
one. McNeely, I remember.
if you're listening, I did beat Dom. Just saying.
You were with Cannonball McNeely. There was a few of you having a
It was,
really
yeah.
good
Yeah,
race.
well, it was.
Did you have to apologise to his father about those comments?
About what?
Yeah, the comments.
Oh, yeah, but I didn't mean it in a bad way. It's just frustrated with him. I didn't think he did anything wrong, but he's an absolutely class guy, and but he's an absolute weapon as well. Isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Completely.
But no, great. Actually, the whole family are brilliant. So it was a really good experience going there and thinking like, right, okay, well, with a bit of time and a bit of effort, we can do something. But then almost like left Brands Hatch thinking, not really sure there was maybe an option like kind of brewing, but it was looking a bit woolly, and I just kind of thought it's not going to happen, and almost like give up on the idea a little bit, which I'm a bit embarrassed to say, to be honest. And it wasn't until I went for a coffee with this Herbert over here, and
Me?
yeah,
Yeah.
we went,
Bit
I met-
harsh, that, wasn't it?
I met you. We went for a coffee, and you were trying to sell us something like you usually are whenever I see you.
I probably did sell it to you.
Yeah, you did actually. That was the day I bought the turbo trainer off you.
There we go.
Well, collected it. I paid for it about 6 months later, but
I still think them cranks are a good buy.
I know, exactly.
okay, moving on. Yeah, and you were like, oh, so like what you doing, sort of thing? I said, probably nothing. And you really were like, well, that's ridiculous. Why not? Like, surely there's an opportunity to do something. Why not? And then that kind of like reignited a bit of fire, and I thought, well, maybe I should. And it kind of just went from there, really. But from the end of the season to being at the bike show, I generally had like no options. Like it wasn't gonna happen. And then I was working for Norton at the time at the bike show. You guys came down for the day and went for a pint. And that's kind of how it started, wasn't it? At the end of the day, you guys were going back to
On
Carlisle.
the train.
You got time for a quick pint? Yeah, I'm in this hotel. Meet you there. And
So my next memory was I think working late one night, and I had the pod in the background, and was listening to it, and then I think Dom kind of summarised what the conversation was, and he said, "Let me just say, Tim and Matty, friends of the pod, going to buy you a bike and run you in the BMs." I'm thinking,
No pressure.
did I just hear that?
which wasn't quite the conversation that was had, was it? So what? And I had spoke to Dom on that evening for whatever reason. I can't remember what it was. I think he'd done his OMG deal at the time, and he was saying, "What you doing?" I said, "Well, just been having a pint with these lads," and they sort of said that they would be maybe interested in doing something like this if we could get some budget together to do it, you know. But like, want to run it as Chasin the Racing, because that was your guys' idea, really. It wasn't. That
Yeah,
wasn't
wanted it to be.
Yeah.
A Chasin the Racing team.
It's-
Chasin the Racing bike.
So for context of people who don't know you guys, Matty actually used to sponsor Chrissy,
Chrissy, yeah.
and was on the supporters wall and stuff when he's running the Superbike team, and been fans in the pod. Obviously, we knew each other, but I never actually like knew the links, if you know what I mean, at the time. But then, so it was you guys that came up with the let's run it as Chasin the Racing, and I was a bit, oh yeah, good idea. I just mentioned it to Dom on the phone. He's like, oh, that'd be brilliant. And he's like, oh, it would be great, because I don't know if I'm going to have sort of room for Piggy with me. I don't know how the situation is. Obviously, Dom had gone to sign up to do a job, which I get, and he was sort of concerned about that. And then he was like, well, that would mean like Piggy go out there. And we were like, yeah, brilliant, of course. Literally nothing more got said, and then we were doing a catch-up pod, and Dom just like announced it to the world that that was happening, which wasn't the case at the time. However, we probably got a lot to thank him for, because
Forced to hand.
Turned out
you guys were like,
To be fair, I think
let's do it then. Yeah.
I think before we even spoke to you, I'd been in touch with BM, hadn't we? And kind of got our name on a bike before we'd even...
Said it.
Yeah. Because we thought, well, 25 bikes are coming out, new model. If we're going to do it, we'll have a new one. And we had our name down before we even kind of got sorted, just to make sure we had something ready to go.
And then, just sort of spiral from there, really. And I think about our little group chat that we've got now, and looking back at where looking back at some of the photos the other day of you guys running the bike in January or February. It was
Managed to get the bike
snowing.
in February. Icy.
So we planned the day, didn't we?
Oh, we're going to have a lovely ride out.
All excited. So I landed at Dave's place, and we couldn't even get across the yard, could we?
It was 11 o'clock before we get out.
It was
Sheet
so
ice in the
nice.
yard. Couldn't get anywhere. It was awful.
But I think we were one of the first people to have a new bike.
We got it in February.
So Lloyd's, BMW, Carlisle were really good sport, weren't they? And they
Been
helped.
awesome.
Brilliant.
So all of the situation is the bikes are discounted for the championship essentially. So then you buy the race kit, and you can either have it done by the Fortis team, or you can do it and fit it yourself. So actually, there's a bit more to that story as well, isn't there? So not only did they go to Lloyd's and order a bike, but Matty actually built a workshop. So
Built a
I
new
went
workshop
the
in the
first
yard.
time I went. He was like, "There was
In
a
for
wall."
a penny, in for a pound.
Yeah, there was
Why not,
a
like?
wall there, and then the next time I went, there was double
doors.
doors and a workshop with a bench and everything, and
full ramp a lot.
yeah, like just a
Went all
proper job really. So it was
No pressure.
fantastic. No,
No, yeah.
it's a nice little segue that, because actually there hadn't been any pressure. We didn't.
Well, given your results last year, or the year before, there's no chance there's any pressure, is there? Expectations were low after that.
Definitely no praise from him. But yeah, so we didn't do any testing abroad or anything. We got the bike in February, but it just all started kind of like coming together really. In the first place we actually went to ride was at Teesside,
Teesside.
which is basically a big kart circuit, isn't it? And we just did our first laps and thought, oh, mint.
Yeah.
But no gauge, like no idea where we were going to be. Was the next time we went to Cadwell?
That's right.
Went and did a track day at Cadwell, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Piggy.
That's right. And then a BSB test, which was the first time actually that we sort of thought, oh, we might do all right here, because not the whole grid weren't there, but we were never out of the top three at the test. And then I guess that was 2 or 3 weeks before the first round.
A couple of weeks.
And then rocking up at the first round, which was I think took everyone a bit by surprise, to be honest. We weren't expecting to do that.
I mean, throughout testing, there was, and the free practices and testing, Burrell was the class of the field, wasn't he? He had Alton especially had like a second on nearly everyone. It was almost him on his own, really.
Yeah.
But then,
Really
really impressive. And then obviously you'd done the races the year before and probably found it were quite a peculiar bike to ride. But you did a lot pre-season, and then you did hit the ground running. Like, do you think it was the type of bike? It's so different, isn't it? Like, how much of a learning process is it to ride something so different? I know you'd been off for a while and done a little bit last year, but not loads. But then, was it something riding that sort of bike different?
Yeah, I think what I'd done last year as well was road racing on a Supersport bike, which couldn't have been any further from what we were doing. I think the difficult thing about that bike in particular is when you ride it, you think, I am riding the wheels off this thing. Like, you think you couldn't possibly ride it any faster, and then you look at the lap times and they're going a second quicker, and you think, I honestly couldn't tell you where to even try to go quicker. And then the peculiar in the sense of to ride for what it is, to look at it. I mean, it's a funny looking thing, isn't it? It actually, they're very good on a track. Like, you would look at it and think, yeah, brilliant road bike, but as a track bike, it's like not the recipe. Yeah. But they are really, really good and enjoyable to ride. And the peculiarness of it, if you like, is just knowing how to get the best out of it. I mean, they're 100-ish horsepower, heavy, low to the ground, just difficult. And I think I'd definitely the testing the limited testing that we had done was helpful just to get up to speed. But I don't know if it was, I don't know what it was at Alton Park. I think I just had it in my head that this was my last shot. I don't know what it was really. Just wanted, I knew that I'd tried a lot over the winter. You'd helped me a lot with training and stuff, and just thought, well, this might only be the F900 championship, but it's a big deal to me, and I knew, and you guys have put a lot of effort in, and I guess we just wanted to do well. So I think if I look from the start of the season to the end of the season, really when we turned up, there was like a huge will to do stuff, but maybe not some of the thought the skill yet, like, and some of that still needed to come. And if you look at the results, we kind of like Alton, we started well, but then others caught up a little bit. So like Nicky and Bobby Verway and a few others like sort of caught up a little bit. And if I look at the next 2 rounds, we still well progressed, but I think others caught up and surpassed her a little bit. And we just needed to, kind of have a little bit of think, and we started to change things then, didn't we? So we weren't really in the early stages changing a lot on the bike. It was more just ride it, learn it, understand, get out behind.
Because you've still not done that much on it, really, had you?
Now 2 tractors. The T side was almost like riding around a car park.
We went for 2 days and you only went on for half a day.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true, yeah.
So
And we just rode around to make sure nothing fell off it, and it worked.
Because do you think the fact that you've not been on like for you to jump off your bike now, off your superbike onto one of them, it'd be like, because you've not been on a race bike as such for so long,
Yeah.
you probably adapted to 900.
Well, it was like
A bit
learning
easier.
to ride.
Not again, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Learning to race again is the
Yeah.
that's the thing.
I mean, the bikes strike me. I've never ridden one, but they strike me as like a fat Moto3 bike. So they're kind of like underpowered. Slipstream's a big thing. Roll speed looks like it's quite a big thing. Or maintain momentum. Although have they got a lot of grunt? Or not?
They make power low down,
Yeah.
so they don't like to be revved. But when I say make power, they make like it's less than 100 horsepower, right? So,
Yeah.
and if you looked at the power to weight, if I was going to a new track, my reference point for brake and stuff like that would be the Moto3 bikes. I would go and watch the Moto3 bikes, because if you look at power to weight and brakes of them and what we have, actually the result ended up being similar. Lap times are pretty similar and stuff as well. So yeah, it's a good analogy, really.
I mean, I guess there was a lot of learning for you, but you guys as a team, this is all fresh. And so as the season progressed, like what were the takeaways? How did you find you improved or sort of refined things, or how was it?
I think we always had a good setup from the start. But the more we work with Josh gives good feedback. He's good at stuff like that.
So that's so much changes.
No, there's not loads to change on the F900s. You're very limited. You've few rear sprockets, no front sprocket. Suspension's minimal changes.
But it was daunting at first, wasn't it? I mean, obviously, like every one of you has worked, and Piggy, you've worked probably more extensively than most in the paddock. Tim, you've done quite a lot, and Matt, you race yourself, and you've been around it. But as a team, we've not been together, and there's not a huge amount of things to change on the bike, but it was daunting at first, and we almost like. I think the biggest thing for me is we had thought about every scenario, so we did all the little things and the basic things really well, which I think if you look at a lot of teams in bigger classes don't do. So it was this person looks after this and this person looks after that, and everyone had a job, everyone had a routine, and that for me was the thing that we never missed a session because of we had one mechanical issue and it wasn't anybody's fault. You know, it was just a simple thing.
Just to put it out, but weirdly, the F900s have one of the most busy schedules of the whole paddock, because you have more races than most. You have more. The sessions might be shorter, but you kind of have more sessions than most. So actually, it's probably one of the more difficult classes to be in that respect, because you're kind of always on track.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I don't know how you guys feel, but I like got a lot of confidence from you guys very early on that it was going to be okay, because I sort of like knew that we had a bit of everything. I kind of described everyone as Tim's like the heart, Matty's like the business brain,
and I'm the retard.
Comedian.
the comedian for sure, but I think of like Piggy is like the arms and legs and the kind of like moving parts of it, and then
Probably better than my arms and legs.
like Penny is here as well, which is off camera at the moment, should be coming on later on, and then Penny was a bit like the glue that kind of like held all of that together. So even down to just how we like tracked everything and mileaged everything, you know, it was probably excessive, and you probably think you don't need to do that, but it gave a lot of confidence to me, to be honest.
I mean, it's impressive because that's what big teams do, but to start out as a new team and do it correctly from the outset makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I think everybody just brought something to the table. I've been fortunate enough to like work on the other side of the fence with some good teams and some brilliant riders, so I sort of felt like I'd brought a bit to the table in terms of
Josh, was some of that come from you then? Because you'd been in teams, worked in teams, not just ridden for teams, but worked within teams and seen some of the protocols and the way they do it. Is that something you said, right, let's make sure this happens, or?
I was very keen on doing that that's fair to say, isn't it? In the start,
systems and...
Yeah, just because...
Routines as well.
Yeah,
because it just comes second nature. Then you're not thinking about.
Yeah,
it's like the little things that you used to. When I used to work for Robin Appleyard, a guy Alex that was the sort of like crew chief and ran everything. He used to give you like a list, and he's like, "Your job. I basically don't care how good a mechanic you are. And by the way, I'm not a very good one. I can like bolt things on. I don't really care how good you are. Your job in this team is to do this thing. And here's the lists. And like, before you do anything else, them things get done. And then if you need to help, then you help with something else." And it was just a brilliant way of working. And, even down to whenever went testing, whenever went anywhere, it was your job to take that front stand. So if you got to the grid and the front stand wasn't there, it doesn't matter if you'd asked somebody else to do it. It was your problem.
Yeah, your responsibility.
100%. And I just think, do what they did when... So I worked with them when Jack won his first British Championship with them. And it was all... I sort of almost like expected to see all these mad changes and changing things all the time in the middle of qualifying and stuff like that. And they didn't. It was like, they'd done the work at the start of the year, got what they needed, and then concentrated on doing the simple things as best as you can.
Once we had a base in, we didn't change.
We didn't really. No. And like, we just had it pretty easy from the start, like pretty simple. It was a lot of it done in the winter. I mean, most people won't know, but we meet every Monday night, don't we? So we have a team's call every Monday night.
Yeah.
Much to, like Anna, my missus will say, what have you got to talk about? These were just together yesterday, and we're just talking about the next stuff. So things we used to talk about were, what do you want on the bike for FP1? So like Matty and Tim the bike would live at Matty's. So Matty on his own or Tim or whoever would be there would prep it. It would turn up to the round, ready to roll out. So when it rolled out of the van, it could have gone on track, other than maybe changing a tyre, which we'd need to do when we're there. But a lot of the time,
generally we get that done.
Even that was
well
done
beforehand,
right. Yeah. So we had a tyre tracker as well. We tracked in F900. You get 4 tyre stickers, a bit different every other class. So you can have, they're all the same sticker. So you're not limited to a front or a rear. You can have 4 tyres.
Oh, so you could have 1 front and 3 rears,
if you
or
wanted
2 and 2. Or,
so whatever your strategy was. And actually, the first round we did do that, didn't we? We kept the same front tyre.
Yeah.
Then we realised that maybe going forward that wasn't the best strategy. We didn't actually do it again, but we had a tracker and a code for every tyre. So it would be round 1, T1, and then that's that tyre. And then Matty would mark the tyre up. Penny had a tracker. And then that was built into so we knew the distance of every track. Mm-hmm. So we could tell you at any one point what is the newest tyre that we had and how many heat cycles it had been through. Which might sound excessive for a one-make series, but it is one of 5 variables that you can change.
I guess that's it's a massive thing, isn't it? Because you've got to make those 4 tyres, those 4 stickers, and choose when you want the best of those combinations, which actually it's a really big strategic thing, actually. Like, I don't know how you went about it, but like, do you stick it in for qualifying or to get further up, or do you go, right, we'll ignore qualifying a little bit and make sure I've got it for the race, and then I've got 12 laps to pick people off or whatever.
Well, that was it. Yeah. So
because we'd have 2 races, wouldn't we?
Yeah. So we came up with quite early on, actually, and this was reflective in our results, right? But you actually never needed to qualify any higher than 6th, technically. Yeah. Because
you split the grids, don't you?
The grids get split after qualifying. So as long as our theory, was that as long as you were on the front row of the heat race, then you could fight. So actually, if you just went out at the start of qualifying and did X number of laps, put yourself in a safe top 6 spot, and saved your tyre, that was more beneficial going into a sprint race, or heat race, sorry.
Because you'd be on the front row.
Well, then you'd
have to run the same tyre.
Yeah.
Used in qualifying.
So you could race on a better tyre. You were off the front row with a better tyre than you might have been if you're trying to qualify on pole, for example. And then
because it's not also pole, is it? Because you were giving backhanders. Because Josh was on pole every single time.
So yeah.
The random grid generator just happened to pull
to
Josh.
get a pole.
We did do all right out of that for some
Not that
whatever.
one, Josh. That one's yours.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it did work out that way. But yeah, after the heat race is a result of qualifying, but it's split. So first, second, third, the grids go odds and evens basically.
Yeah.
That would determine heat 1 and heat 2. And then the top 3 from each heat race, which is an important race, right? Like there's for those that don't know, there's points, there's money, there's tyres. Like there's a lot on the line for them.
Is it full points or is it like
It's like a half point. So it was 12 points I think for a win, but then 11, 10, whatever. And then that was when the lottery. So the top 6 go into a lottery basically, and then that determines the grid for the main race, which, in all fairness, we normally did.
Well, it's a lottery for 5 of them. One of them were a definite anyway.
Nailed on.
So, yeah.
You can't even hold a straight face.
It's funny. It's funny because at the last round, I said, we'll maybe get onto this properly, but because there was 3 who were battling for the championship, I'd said, wouldn't it be nice if they'd said, right, we're not going to do a lottery this week. We're going to split it and just do a lottery for the second row and a lottery for the first row. So it put us 3 all on the front row. And if you looked at the times and stuff, we would have all been there anyway. So that way you could have all fought for the championship. And they were like, oh, yeah, well, that's not how it works, sort of thing. And then it turned out that that's exactly how it worked out. So, and we were on pole, just saying.
Again.
So yeah, no, like the format, that in itself, it's a different format to how you would normally go racing. So there's a lot to consider on that side of it. And then just other things like we would refine the bike after every session. A click here, a click there. One of the biggest discoveries we had was taking some oil out, and we just had to, you got to make a calculated decision as well, because the bikes are production bikes. Mm-hmm. You cannot change a fork spring in the pit lane because the handlebars go across the top of the forks, and it's a 15-minute job. Like the session's 20 minutes, so there's no chance of doing that. So whatever.
So you can change your gearing, which I guess changes your wheelbase.
Only the rear, just the rear.
Yeah. Just the rear, because I do know you're on the same chain, aren't you? You can't change chain length.
Yeah.
So that's a wheelbase thing as well. You can change anything you want in the forks, as in springs, clickers.
Yeah.
Clickers, oil,
Oil.
The only choice 3 springs, isn't there? 3 weight springs.
That's the rear shock.
Yeah.
So the front you could.
I think
the front you could.
Up in the end. I think
Did it used to be just 3.
Yeah.
And then rear shocks, spring, 3 different springs and clickers.
Yeah.
And what else have we got?
That's it. Tyre pressure.
And there was a range.
Yeah.
Well, there's a minimum range for the rear tyre. Yeah. I mean, we played around with lots of things like that, and obviously we did some track days in the season. Not loads, mind, but we did do it, and got some really good support for that to be able to happen from some good sponsors as well, which was super important. But yeah,
I mean, it probably helps, doesn't it? The fact, so you're a fresh team, new team. The fact you're able to be as competitive as you are in a class within the BSB paddock probably shows why this category is so popular. There's a wide range of people that turn up for the F900, isn't there?
100%. Yeah.
You've got ex-MotoGP riders, down to some guy who's probably mid-pack in a club race that decides he wants to be in the BSB paddock, and you've got reasonably professional setups, down to, again, this guy who turns up with his missus and
in a tent.
In a tent.
Yeah.
So there's a big range, but you've all got a pretty decent chance because the rules are pretty easy.
Yeah. Look, if you had a decent setup, which anybody could achieve, right? If you've got the knowledge and you've got the stuff, if you took a mate and you were a good enough rider, you could go in the back of a transit van and win that race. Mm-hmm. Like, that is possible. That is not true in any other class in British Championship.
And because of the competitiveness, there was suggestions in previous years that people were, being a bit underhand. So this year they introduced this sealed ECU. Yeah. So at the start of the season, everyone had their ECU checked and sealed. So, just made it a fair kind of playing field, didn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, that was all you heard in the previous couple of seasons of the championship, that everyone must be cheating to do those lap times stuff. But as there's now a group of 4 or 5 riders doing those lap times now, no one's cheating, or maybe some people are saying that, but we actually had a really strong bike. Like, I was actually worried at one round because it was the bike, for whatever reason, was at the top end of the horsepower limit, and I'm thinking, well, what if it's over? What if it goes? Because we know exactly there's the bike is as it's meant to be, and it was as it come out of the showroom.
Because they dyno check randomly, don't they, every now and
The
again?
dyno check the top 3 and random, and they check the ECU's not broken the seal or anything, and we were lucky that we had a good bike. And
I think it was all down to running in.
I was going to say running in, -3.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's been well looked after, hasn't it? We just had, I think, a really good package. And what was, I think, the thing that made us have such a good year is the whole package. And it's a really good example of, you look at Superbike now, you know this because you live in it every week, right? A good rider on a average bike with an average team cannot win. So the whole package is more important. So like a decent bike, a decent rider, and a decent team could win and could do a job. And I guess that's just the ethos that we try to create. So it was like, let's just keep doing all the things that we can control and focus on the things that we can do. And every round just got a little bit better for me. We would try and...
I was interested at Thruxton. We just kind of rolled on the grid and we had like a tyre pressure check.
Yeah.
So that was a new thing for me. And of course you kind of think, because obviously there is a little bit of, between leaving the garage and getting to the grid, warm day, cold day, pressures can vary quite a bit, but we passed that with flying colours. Not everybody did. So,
and a lot of people do that, and it's a shame, right? It's a good example of just having a bit of knowledge and stuff. So the sort of protocol for most people might put a tyre warmer on, assuming they've got heat adjustable tyre warmers, for example, to 80 degrees, and set the tyre pressure. So the minimum pressure is 24.5 psi, which is 1.65 bar. But by the time you leave your garage, do your outlap, your tyre's not 80 degrees by the time you get to the grid. So if you get a tyre pressure check, you're off the grid, and you start from pit lane. So the sort of process, which is known, like people do it in the Superbike, actually Superbike's different again because they take fresh tyres to the grid, but we would set our pressures at 80 degrees and then half an hour before boost the tyre up to 110, 120 degrees. So then when you rolled out on the grid, it was never ever below the minimum. But that could, we never had that. I never once, when they plugged it in, never once questioned, because I knew that would be right.
Yeah.
But,
you'd calibrated the gauge as well, didn't you?
Checked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just all it.
It's those simple things, isn't it? That sounds so simple when you say it, but it obviously caught people out.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think, we'll get onto this a little bit about our future plans and stuff and like things we'd like to do. But I think actually, as a squad, would set us in good stead to move into another class and take on that little bit of extra technical requirement, from a bike, because like I say, the bikes are relatively simple. But as a series, for a team to come in and learn and grow and do stuff, because you could have 3 of the best mechanics in the world, 4 of the best people in the world, and as individuals, but it's got to work together.
It's got to be cohesive, hasn't it? Yeah.
So,
I mean, obviously I try and watch, but I've got my own thing to do. But when I can, usually I'm sat on my seat or I've just debriefed or whatever. So, and just the timings, you're usually out about that time, so I always watch. But going through the year, you see the progress that happened, which is obviously a group dynamic thing. And then you won. Did you win both at Assen and then both at Brands?
Won 3 at Assen and...
Or 3, of course it was.
Oh, no,
2.
2, sorry.
Second in the heat.
Yeah, because we had a sprint race, so we won the last 4 races of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, what a way. But since I'm the only one not in the team, I want to know from each 4 of you a highlight, a low light, and a highlight from the year. Who's going first?
I'll go first. Thruxton for me. First main podium.
That's your highlight?
Yep. Boy was there. Barney was there. It was just class. First time on the main. We had quite a few heat race podiums.
Yeah.
But Thruxton main was mega. Real nice weekend. Barney there. Just brilliant. Proper good. Low. My pit board in a World Two bikes.
So, well, we'll talk about it. There's
Are we
absolutely.
on to meltdown?
No.
I had an embarrassing meltdown because we'd finished off the podium. I got passed on the last lap. It was the worst. I mean, in itself, this is a positive thing, right? We'd finished 4th and 6th,
Right.
which is the worst results we'd had all year. And
Bearing in mind, Kyle and Storm were in there as well.
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
two Superbike
Yeah,
riders.
yeah,
So like,
So you finished
It
second
was our
and
regular result
third, really, or
all
whatever.
the time.
so I was fuming and didn't behave in the best manner when it came in, which I was
Did
incredibly.
you look for someone else to blame for your...
Yes.
There wasn't a portion of blame to be had, mind.
There was. So what Matty's referring to is because got the gap slightly wrong on the pit board, which was irrelevant because I knew that the person was there because I could hear them and see them. So. But I was angry when I came in, and then immediately was like, "I'm really sorry. I'm sorry." But actually, it was a bit of a turning point in the season.
So, hold on, what did you do?
I just threw my clothes on the ground and effed and jeffed and got upset.
For 30 seconds. New result.
Yeah, but it was a turning point in the season for me because every single person was like, "It's fine." I've been on both sides of it. When you ride and you want to blame someone, and when you're a mechanic and you're working for someone, and they crash it, you want to go, what were we doing? Yeah. So they don't shout at me when I crash it. I don't shout at them when something goes wrong. And actually,
you did.
I did, and it wasn't even their fault.
I didn't crash it. We didn't get a chance to shout at him.
But it was it was a turning point in the season because every single person would actually not bothered. Actually, we're happy that you give that much of a crap about it. Like, it means that we're not turning up for nothing. That you're upset.
Means something.
Yeah, like exactly. So, and I sort of changed my mindset a little bit, which was so it was the most difficult round we'd had for what I couldn't even tell you why I just didn't ride.
So was that your low light as well then?
Pierre would be that moment and that round would be a low light for me. Yeah, definitely.
And your highlight?
Winning at Aston was pretty special. I think it's just a cool place, isn't it? And,
yes, amazing.
It was just mint.
Mega.
And then to do it in the afternoon as well was just a big. Aston in general was just a really cool trip. Like, we drove out there in the car. Crack was brilliant.
Yeah.
And winning 2 races was mint. It was class.
Go on, Piggy.
Aston, same. I think that when Aston were. All podiums were good, weren't they? But Aston one were.
It was emotional,
Special,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Low point. I know. Me personally, there ain't one. No, I couldn't pick one.
Well, that's a sign of a good year, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't say. I didn't think that were.
That was like
nothing. No. To me, anyway, that's what I think. No low points.
I've got a low point. You weren't there at Donington because you were on holiday at Brands, so we missed you for a round. That was our low light.
Yeah, that was at Armoy, weren't I? Yeah, that's about. Yeah, missing that probably could say that because then I'd have done full season, wouldn't I? Yeah.
I think for me, just the team camaraderie was so special, really. But I think in terms of a high point, knowing how strong Baz was at the start of the year. I mean, you said he was a second front. I think sometimes he was actually 3 seconds. He was so strong and so impressive to watch. So I think when you started, really mixing it with him and, just showing him a wheel, close second across the line, that's pretty special, So it just showed that, we were in the mix, really. So low points when you didn't get your beers in Holland, that was pretty bad, wasn't it? But,
So we would book this weird accommodation because I was very last minute with it, and it was nowhere near a pub. So Piggy did a whole 24 hours without any beer.
Thank goodness for sparkling water.
Yeah.
I think we should bring Penny in at this point as well, so she can add. She's been hiding out the way of the camera because it is a bit snug in here.
I'll shimmy up a bit. I'll share your microphone, Josh.
The other low point where we got bought an ice cream at Thruxton. You remember that one?
Just
these two.
Snoozy loos.
Yeah.
Just on those high points and low points, I must admit, when you said about Aston being emotional, I did get shit in my eye. I did come and see you on the podium, and I honestly don't know why. It made me. It was mint. It was absolutely lovely. So yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
It's felt like a lot. Sorry, Penny. I want to hear your highlight as well because.
I mean, I think for me, Assen, it was absolutely amazing as well, because I hadn't been there before as well, and it's such an amazing spot. But I think actually at Brands, the last round, I think to actually get to actually beat Baz and beat Nikki was just amazing. So that was definitely, I think, my high point.
Yeah, it was a pretty the whole just Brands in general, I think, was like a cool weekend, and it was incredibly disappointing not to win the championship. But
And what was the point? It was only six
points, yeah. Like, you know, which is. I look back and I think, imagine if I'd have just like had a better result at Snetterden or better like.
Everyone has those, don't they?
You can't look because you didn't, and yeah, the reality is that you know we didn't have a crash all year as well, so you know one crash in the qualifying out of the first round, and we rode the bike back, so you know we didn't crash and lose any points. We didn't have a mechanical and lose any points, and you know, whilst we weren't as strong at the start of the season as some of the others. Those lads did crash and did have breakdowns and miss point scoring opportunities, which put us, I guess, where it put us.
Even apart from free practice done it, the bike did every single session, full session all season.
But I think what could have been a low point, missing that free practice, becomes a real high point because you didn't let that bother you, and you went out and just like nailed it, and it was situation normal.
Yeah, that game was another highlight, I think. So it had such a difficult round at the World Superbike event. And then to start the weekend like that, thinking, oh God, like we're on the back foot, to then qualify the best we'd qualified all year, win the heat race, and second in the main race. And honestly, I think we had pace to win that race. It got red flag 3 laps early, but like that was a big. Actually, I think that was the moment that I thought I might actually be able to win this, because I, for the first time, thought Brands was a bit of a turning point because we made a bit of a step with the bike and pace and everything, and then. Donington, we had good results at Tuxton and so on, but Donington, I don't know, something else changed. It was like, I think I can fight Baz and Nicky now. And it was, I think I believed a bit in myself that I could win a race, and then obviously we went on and won some races.
And another amazing thing about your team is you've got the best snack area going because you've got the Chasin the Racin Patreon zone.
I think the whole thing for me, what I'm incredibly proud of, regardless of where we're finished in the championship, is the whole connection with the podcast and everybody. So it's actually, yes, there's 6 of us on the sofas here, but there's way more people than that. There's obviously Grace, Martin, Karen, Katie, my dad, my family, like all of the people, Jason from Photostrada, like all of the people that have came up during the season and, you know, bought a t-shirt, just came and had a cup of tea, like came and seen us, just made it incredible. One of the big things that I think sort of represents that for us was on the podium at Assen, winning the race, and the commentators were talking about Chrissy and talking about the podcast, which is again a reason for doing it. Like, we've enjoyed racing, we've had some success, it's brilliant, but actually the reason we wanted to do this was because of Chasin the Racin, and for me it's helping to promote that and keeping memories alive, and that was really, really special. And it's just, it's much I guess what I'm trying to say is it's much bigger than this operation of people that you see right here, and I mean, just incredibly proud of that. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, I had Piggy and I were in the Isle of Man, I think, for the TT, and just sort of working away, and a couple of guys walked past and said, "Oh, hello, Piggy." So I looked at them and I said, "Who were they?" Got no idea. Anyway, they came walking back, and they're chatting away, but they were from Holland, and it was just amazing that they could kind of like talk to him as though they knew him, because obviously he's a legend, but you know, the fact that they were watching and following from Holland, obviously come to the Isle of Man, but I thought it was pretty special, really.
Yeah, I've seen that sport in general, like even when we're in Assen, there was so many people from around Europe, and well, obviously we're privileged enough that we get to do the pod, and like myself, Christian, Joe, Dom, Grace, that we get to sit in here on a weekly basis and do these episodes, and sometimes you almost forget the reach and you forget who listens and stuff, and then but this year, for the first time in a long time, I've like really seen it, and firsthand has been just amazing. It's been really, really nice from that side of thing as well, and just so many lovely comments about it. So,
and there was a photographer in Assen who brought you a photograph from 20.
From 10 years ago.
Yeah, they wanted a signing.
Christian had just been turning 40 then.
You're an idiot.
But yeah, like, look, I guess this to like round off really, but an unbelievable season.
Brilliant.
I know lots of people in there. We've got some Patreon questions, so before we do that, lots of actually maybe let's just jump straight into that, and then we'll summarise. But I guess the first one is from Photostrada, who I just mentioned before, Jason, who's been at every round taking photos for this year.
Yeah.
It's a question for both me and Christian and the CTR Motorsport team. What is the biggest thing you've learned from the season, and what's like your personal takeaway? So we've just said like what highlights, lowlights, but what's the biggest thing that we've learned?
I think just, kind of learning about each other. We never really discuss who's doing what, but I think it just seems to work seamlessly. And I think anyone could almost step in and do any role, really, couldn't we? But it's but just how slick and how professional it is, and how much we all kind of want it without adding pressure, really. But
I think we also kind of agreed, didn't we? It's okay to ask and check if people have done stuff, and I think that's really important as well. So although we've all got our roles, it's kind of there's no judgment, just to say, have we done this, have we done that, and I think that's a really important thing to do as well.
Yeah, I think just to build on that, really, for me, it's more important who you do things with, not what you're doing.
Yeah.
And there's that like saying, if you go to pub, I'm not going to that pub because it's not very good. Well, actually, if you're with six good people in a crap pub, it's better than being in a good pub with Christian.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll not buy you a drink, that's for sure.
well, that's but the people we've done it with, and that's been a really important lesson for whatever we do. Everyone brought something to the table. I think it's reflective of all of the what people do for a living outside of racing, because this is a hobby, right? Like, it's not what we do for a living.
in terms of you, I think good communication, and I think it's obvious that you've worked in larger teams, either in the workplace or in race teams. So I think you're able to kind of delegate and trust people around you. And I think of all the people that I've come across, your technical kind of feedback. I mean, Tom from TB Racing, who helped us with the suspension early on. When I said to him that we'd taken 2 mil out the oil in the front forks, he was just like, you've got it sorted, So, but I think that's credit to you that you've got that sort of real fine tuning attention to detail. So I think we'll probably add the bike in the right place.
Yeah, I think like the whole setup's enabled us to do that, hasn't it? When you and Dom did F900, it was you didn't have the luxury of a whole team behind you, did you?
No, it was the first year, so everyone was sort of on
learning.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, everyone was saying that Cooper were cheating and all this, but it's like, you've just got a quality rider on it.
Yeah.
Like they were saying, he don't weigh out, we can't beat him. And like, so, well, beat Rutter then. When you're beating Rutter, then you can say.
Yeah.
Because, like, no disrespect, I mean, he's not a lightweight, is he? Just experienced, fast, cracking rider, isn't he? So,
and this isn't, I know we're doing Patrons, but I just want to ask, because obviously at Donington there was Storm and Kyle that came in. I think it's brilliant when that happens, to be honest with you, personally. How did you feel about it? And yes, Kyle ended up winning, but was it good? Did it help not bring a level forward, that's not the right thing to say, but did it help you ride in some way? Did you see what he did? Obviously, he went on to win the British Championship, so he's a pretty special rider.
Yeah. I mean, they're arguably the only two people who've ever jumped into the championship for one round and performed like that, which I'm not being funny, you would expect. Yeah. For me, it was a brilliantly positive thing for the championship. One, for the profile. I would personally rather finish 5th in a championship with lots of good riders in than win a championship that's considered to be less competitive. So I think for the profile of the championship and for taking everybody on was brilliant. In terms of did it do anything for us? 100%. If you looked at their sector times and how they rode, the amount of time they made up just on corner entry in the last sector was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And that was something that we massively focused on. And then going into the next round at Donington, and we made a massive step.
I think in their defence as well, I mean, it's quite a big thing, isn't it? jumping into a class like that, because equally, Jeremy McWilliams, who I totally respect as a rider, and Neil Mackenzie, with respect to them, they didn't kind of perform quite as well. I thought they'd do much, much better. So, those two guys, Storm and Kyle, they could have, sort of had some reputational kind of risk or damage, if you like. So I think coming in and giving that a whirl, fair play.
Yeah, there's a lot of risk involved for those two riders.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
I mean, didn't Kyle roof it as well in that?
Yeah.
He had a break
FP1,
issue, which was like a really simple thing that happened. And
But the risk is there for him. I mean, and
100%.
as you just said, there's risk. He at the time, I think he was second at in the championship in the BSB. Imagine if he went in and got smoked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of risk as a rider.
But again, it's just another measurement of, every class is different, and if you, them boys at the top of their game, and arguably like world championship level riders, given the right opportunities, and for them to come and jump in and do that, yes, we expected them to be fast, but it just showed the level a little bit, and it did, I think, push the whole championship on a little bit, because it just showed what was doable. Like you say, there's a huge risk of getting beaten, and I'm not being funny. Baz wasn't that far behind, and he at the time had a broken collarbone, didn't he? So,
I mean, and they both enjoyed it, didn't they?
yeah, Kyle spoke really highly.
Yeah. So I mean, Storm, he was saying what good fun it were. And
Yeah.
I thought of a low point for me. I was disappointed because there was some rumour that Top Rack was going to come and have a go. And wouldn't that have been...
That might have been a bit of different gravy.
Yeah.
So one other Patreon question here, then I guess we can chat about maybe like what we're going to do next. So Josh, what if you can say did from the mid-season, making a jump in the mid-season to be more competitive, and also what assurances, if any, do the organisers give to competitors to make sure that the series will run again? Okay. So, yes, I think we did make a bit of a jump to be considered a bit of a more of a serious competitor at the front in the midpoint of the season. I would say if it was a bike change, actually, a little bit of, obviously we were getting stronger every time. We changed setting in the forks that just like gave us a little bit what we were looking for, or let us ride the bike how we wanted to ride it. And that was at Brands at the middle point of the season. And also just battling with Cooper that weekend and looking at the lap times, we were on lap record pace. From Brands Hatch onwards, every track we went to, we were with on lap record pace, which, if you think about what Cooper did in the first year to now, that's like, it's good to see. And then in terms of organisers' reassurance, so there's been multiple meetings throughout the year. There's a meeting with the BMW representative, Steve Plater, and people from BMW at every round, actually. And there's always been confirmation that the championship's going to continue, and if anything changes, we'll get insight on when the dates are coming out, what they can share. But in terms of the championship continuing, we were the first to know, and I think there is a deal for it to continue for some time, which is great. And we also had a meeting with Stuart Higgs. Actually, I'm sure you'll not mind us saying, but it was around the people's behaviour. So there was a couple of incidences of people riding dangerously, basically, not necessarily during the racing, but almost after the flags and stuff. And I guess if you think about the championship as being a sort of progression from a clubman to a national level rider, there's always a risk of that and an element of it. And they basically got everybody together, explained the seriousness of the situation, and you need to make sure you're not doing this. They reiterated the fact that they like the championship, the spectators like the championship, BMW certainly like the championship, and they want it to continue, and it has to operate at a certain level. And they actually made everybody shake hands and respect the fact that you're going to go race that person. This is serious, and I thought it was really good. You weren't allowed to leave the room until you'd shook every single person's hand in the room, which was good. So I think the input from BSB is really strong. It's not what people might consider. You're not shoved in the corner, right? Like it's it's you get a lot of input from them.
Is the series getting rolled out in a few other, like, did I see it's eligible in some club racing classes and stuff like that as well? And then maybe going abroad, is it?
So I think there's a BMW globally are working on it in America.
Right.
So America's obviously a big market for all the manufacturers.
Wild card then?
Well, it would be nice. It would be nice. I'd love to see it at Daytona. If it's a Daytona, then I would probably sell my house to go and do that. So,
Sorry, Anna.
That would be class. But yeah, it looks like there'll be a series in America, and I'm sure part of Europe to follow. There's a lot of club series in the UK. The club scene in the UK has been difficult for a while. Thundersport at one point were the dominant series. They closed, which left a lot of people with not a lot of options. No Limits have kind of took that up. Bemsy's been around, then you've got the other clubs. You could have probably gone and rode that bike in a class, but now they're given a dedicated series to some of them, which is brilliant because for one thing, the older model bikes that aren't eligible will be eligible there, so it gives somewhere for them to go. For me, it's a bit like modern day CB500.
Yeah.
As a young rider, so I don't think enough young riders are looking at that class. They look at it and think, that's not the class I want to be involved in. It's a fantastic class and you could learn a lot and it's cost effective. So in terms of a family being able to go and do it, it's a lot more achievable than some of the other options. So the fact that there's now a route from club racing where you could cut your teeth and maybe do a wild card to prove your worth, and then before making a commitment, it's a great path.
Yeah, and like you said, you learn the professionalism of the series. It's a lot more stringent, strict not strict, but in BSB, it's the timings are the timings. This is how it works.
Yeah, the level is just elevated, and so it should be, and it's good. And things like the pace car. We had a pace car at Brands.
If you were just doing club racing, you wouldn't know what to do, would you?
No, I'll be honest. It's been a long time since I sat behind a pace car, and I got caught out. The lights went off, and in my head was like, comes in at the end of the next lap. It didn't. It came in at the end of that lap, and he was gone, and could have been a different story. So it's
pitboard error, I reckon.
Yeah,
not that one. Not that one.
But yeah,
I can't see the lights on the other side of the track.
It wasn't Josh's fault, of course.
But yeah, there's so many. Yeah, there is so many things, and I just think it's great that there's a club option because we don't have that anywhere now.
And it's supported by Fortis as well. I think.
I was just saying the other thing with some people want to try the series, like Fortis have got a bike which you can hire for a round, so that's pretty good, isn't it? So it's another good way to have a kind of a try.
Just dip your toe in,
yeah. But
right, so come on, guys, you won the last 4 races. I don't want to move on that quickly, but what's happening next year?
Well,
I don't know. That's my answer.
Yeah, so the honest answer at the minute is we don't know. I think in an ideal scenario, would love to just go and do this series again, which would be great. I've loved riding the bike, loved everything we've done. Would love to go and do it again. It's a financial thing to start with, and we've also looked and evaluated options to do another class, which would be sport bike. Really, just financially, the other classes are going to be really, really difficult to do as much as we'd like to. Again, comes a little bit down to opportunity, a little bit down to funding. So we're evaluating those options at the moment, but it looks more likely that it's more that we'll just do what we did again, providing we can also make that happen. That's not a foregone conclusion. I have also, been put in a position that I never expected to be put in, to be honest, which I've had a couple of people contact me and say, would I be interested in riding another class with them, and like financially those options are things I would have to consider, and we've all talked about it together.
Just to stop you mid-sentence, but you just said about kids looking at the class. It just shows that people are actually looking at it. Just for putting that out for anyone out there, it shows that people are looking.
To be clear, from a good race winning team in another class, I'll not say which one, but a good class, phoned me on the day after Brands Hatch. So if there are younger lads that don't think the series is getting the eyes, and I'm not exactly a young up and coming like rider, do you know what I mean? Like I'm 28 years old. It's not like I'm
just fat.
have to be double that to get you anywhere near your age. Yeah, like it does. It absolutely has a bit of
People are seeing it.
yeah, and also the people at the front of the championship are considered as good riders, like Nicky, Baz, Ellison. You know, there's no mugs, so it's good. But I would love to go and try and win the championship with you. I'd love to continue what we've done. I think keeping the Chasin the Racin team alive in one format or another would be fantastic. Hopefully we can make that happen. We just need to
Have another pint.
Another pint
We'll have to make sure, we'll see.
if anyone wants to join me for a pint, that would also. You never know where that might lead. So yeah, but that's the plan really.
We've spoken about the possibility, like if you keep on doing it, running a second bike, but early days.
Yeah, I think there's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple of like options around that. I mean, one thing I'll be super keen on in the future. Like, I'm definitely not going to race forever. Like, it's just not going to happen. I know the level that we're at. You know, it's not like you guys doing it for a living. That's kind of not where we're at. But I would love.
I don't know. You've won more prize money than me lately.
Yeah, but you're just a bad negotiator. Negotiate some fourth place bonus next time. Yeah, look, I would love to get a young rider through it at some point, like in the future, if there's an option to ever get a young person in. And we're not in a position to fund it for everybody, but it's certainly a really strong starting point. I know that it's something that everybody here shares as well, but I like love that. If I could turn back the clock and have that opportunity when I was 14, 15 or something, like, it would be phenomenal. So yeah, that's also something to consider as well. But we'll definitely keep you posted.
Yeah.
Class. Well, thanks everybody for driving up to the sunny northeast.
Yeah, nice and sunny as well, isn't it?
Well, it is. Yeah, the sun is shining. Everyone's suitably full up on bacon and sausage sarnies,
Awesome.
tea and coffees.
Lovely.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.
See you at the bike show.
Well, I really enjoyed that. It was good listening about how you got on and stuff, and the whole, like, how the team sort of gelled and sort of come together, really, from humble or no beginning, shall we say, to winning the last 4 races of the year. But anyway, yeah, spot on. So yeah, just a bit of housekeeping, really. We got some new merch coming soon. I'm wearing this hoodie. Is this hoodie still available?
Yep.
Yeah, I wear this hoodie all the time, not just when I'm... I always wear it here because I wear it all the time.
Because it was free.
Yeah, it was free. But yours won't be free. You have to buy it, you lot. Unlucky. But yeah, there's loads of merch available. New hats, I think, coming. One thing really to mention, and we do want to thank our sponsor at the moment, OMG Racing, Lucky Day Competitions, JCT Truck and Trailer. So thank you so much to them for their support and ongoing support. But there is going to be a few changes, I think, soon on our sort of board sponsors, on our full-time sponsors. So if anyone does want to get involved in the podcast, please get in touch with Grace, and she'll be very happy to take any questions. And obviously, if you want to be an episode sponsor, then for someone who wants a bit of a smaller in but still wants to sort of support us, then that would be greatly received. And if you just want to be part of the crew, don't forget to become a Patreon, because as we just heard, you get to sort of go and sort of pester Josh. No, don't pester him. But you get to go and sort of watch the Chasin the Racing crew, and hopefully they'll, like they just spoke about, be at the races next year. We're not sure quite how, but they've got the Patreon zone, and then there's loads of other stuff like early listens, get your questions in, all sorts of shiz. So, and hopefully some giveaways that we're working on, and some actual free stuff.
Yeah, there's some cool ideas for that we've got on in the sort of pipeline for patrons and stuff. So yeah, keep looking out over winter, and there's never been a better time to get involved in it, really.
Exactly. Well, I know Josh has got a Sunday lunch to get to, so thank you very much.